Live from the Capitol, Pierce, South Dakota, Post 22 Baseball is on the air. The hard part for the Hard Hats is already passed, and that was in yesterday's matchup against Renner, booking themselves an automatic shot for the state championship tomorrow. But there is still work to be done prior to that point. It is a Day 4 showdown between the Brandon Valley Lynx of Post 131 and your Post 22 Hard Hats. With that, we say good evening, and we welcome you inside our press box here at Hyde Stadium from Pierce, South Dakota, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and once again streamed on post8baseball.com, where you can catch every game of the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Championship Tournament in its entirety with free-of-charge video streaming. Post 22 yesterday took a hard-fought 4-3 win over the Renner Royals of Post 307. With that win, as I mentioned moments ago, they have earned themselves a shot at the state championship tomorrow. Whether it's two chances to win one game against one opponent or a winner-take-all showdown tomorrow afternoon remains to be unseen, but that takes into account what happens today against Brandon Valley. Brandon Valley is playing for their playoff lives. They lost in Game 1, 10-7 to Mitchell Post 18. They ended up blanking Brookings 11-0 in an elimination matchup, and then yesterday defeated the defending state champions Pierre Post 8. So there will be a new state champion crowned this year. 15-2 is the final score, so that's how Brandon Valley got to this point. Earlier today, Mitchell defeated Renner 8-7. They have eliminated Renner from state championship contention, so Mitchell will play tomorrow. Whether it's potentially two matchups against the Hard Hats or Mitchell has to go through Brandon Valley to see the Hard Hats for a fourth time in the playoffs is yet to be seen. But again, this matchup between the Lynx and the Hard Hats has a lot of say in what happens in tomorrow's order of operations for the tournament. Let's go ahead and read off the starting lineups for both the Lynx and the Hard Hats for a fourth game in a row. The Hard Hats got lucky on the draw. They're batting in the home halves. So here comes the Brandon Valley lineup in the top halves of our 7 innings of regulation. Leading off is number 2, Trey Hubers. He's patrolling center field. Batting second is number 28, Dane Payton. He's out at second base. Batting third is number 3, Isaiah Chevalier. He's the shortstop. And in the cleanup position is number 32, Joe Colbeck. He's patrolling left field. Batting fifth is number 10, Thomas Skolton, out at first base. Batting sixth is number 24, Connor Connect. He'll serve as the designated hitter for the Lynx. Batting seventh is number 9, Isaac Butine, patrolling the hot corner at third base. Batting eighth is number 18, Will Brown, out in right field. And rounding out the batting order in the ninth spot for the Lynx is number 4, Jacob Johnson. He will serve as the backstopper and the catcher. Number 16, Zach Felderman is on the mound. He is tasked with taking on the Hard Hats lineup in the bottom halves of our 7 innings of regulation tonight. Here is how the Hard Hats lineup looks for this Day 4 showdown. Leading off for Post 22 is number 13, Connor King. He's patrolling center field. Batting second is number 21, Matt Hegry, out in the hot corner at third base. Batting third is number 22, Cooper Bowman, out at the shortstop position. And in the cleanup spot is number 23, Jack Sorensen, and he is out at first base. Batting fifth is number 30, Jace Caldwell, serving as the designated hitter. Batting sixth is number 15, Zach Sumption. He's patrolling right field. Batting seventh is number 18, Alex Weaver, patrolling left field. Batting eighth is number 17, Todd Stevens, serving as the catcher. This is his first action in the state tournament. And rounding out the batting order in the ninth spot for the Hard Hats is number 12, Mason Messenger, and he is out at second base. Tasked with the start today is the young right-handed pitcher, Drew Messer, who comes in for now a dozen appearances on the season. This will be his 11th by virtue of a start. He has a 5-0 record to his credit in 38 2/3 innings of work this season with a 4.16 ERA and 34 strikeouts to 34 walks on the season. The last few starts for Drew Messer have been unfortunately pretty tough for number 24. We know that he is capable of some great baseball, but ever since the firecracker against Terre Haute, he hasn't pitched more than 3 2/3 innings in his last 3 starts. Against Terre Haute and the firecracker, he only went 1 2/3. He got the start, but not the win. Hit 2 batters, struck out 1, and walked a trio. Gave up 5 earned runs, but the Hard Hats somehow pulled off the walk-off win against Terre Haute. Then he took on Pierre, shortly after that in a regular season game, but he only lasted 2 innings. He struck out 1 and walked 3, allowing 3 earned runs on 5 total, 6 hits. And then the last time he played was against Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin in the Gopher Classic. In Game 1 of the elimination round of the round of 16, he went 3 2/3 in that start, was credited with the win, but he hit 3 batters and walked 8, only striking out 2. Folks, we're going to take a step aside. When we come right back, we'll have the performance of the United States National Anthem as well as the recitation of the American Legion Code of Conduct. We'll be all set for this Day 4 showdown between the Brandon Valley Lynx of Post 131 and your Rapid City Post 22 Hard Hats. Stick around, folks. You are listening to the official radio home of Post 22 Hard Hats Baseball here on ESPN Rapid City. Set now for this Day 4 showdown between the Brandon Valley Lynx and your Post 22 Hard Hats here in the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Championship Tournament. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and once again we're the feature broadcast on post8baseball.com, where you can watch every game in its entirety free of charge with video streaming for the remainder of this tournament. Post 22, following our ceremonial first pitch, will be set to take the field against Brandon Valley. Here's exactly how we got to this point. We'll start off with Brandon Valley, who suffered a Day 1 loss to Mitchell Post 18, but have battled their way all the way to this Day 4 showdown. They eliminated Brookings 11-0 in an elimination game on Day 2, and then eliminated the defending state champion, Pierre Post 8, with a 15-2 win last night prior to the Hard Hats taking on Renner. So Brandon Valley sits at 2-1 coming into this matchup against the Hard Hats, who are 3-0. Post 22 defeated Brookings 12-1 on Day 1, and then Mitchell by an 11-1 count on Day 2. It was a tooth and nail back and forth affair last night, though, against Renner. Completely different story for the Hard Hats, who for the first time in the entire tournament found themselves trailing in the middle of a game. Post 22 did tough out the 4-3 win against the Royals last night to get to this point against Brandon Valley. Earlier today, Mitchell eliminated Renner, so now there are only 3 teams remaining. Whether there will be 3 or 2 remaining tomorrow will be eventually figured out after the 7 innings in front of us between the Hard Hats and the Lynx. Drew Messer, the righty, is throwing his warm-up pitches for the Hard Hats, so let's recap the Lynx lineup here in the top of the first. Leading off for Brandon Valley is number 2, Trey Hubers. He's patrolling center field. Batting second is number 28, Dane Payton, out at second base. Batting third is number 3, Isaiah Chevalier, out at shortstop. And in the cleanup position is number 32, Joe Colbeck. He's patrolling left field. Batting fifth is number 10, Thomas Skolton, out at first base. Batting sixth is number 24, Connor Connect, serving as the designated hitter. Batting seventh is number 9, Isaac Butine, in the hot corner at third base. Batting eighth is number 18, Will Brown, patrolling right field. And rounding out the batting order in the 9th spot for the Lynx is number 4, Jacob Johnson, serving as the backstopper and catcher. Defensive alignment for the Hard Hats has Drew Messer and his right arm on the mound, paired up with Todd Stevens, seeing his first action in the state tournament this year. At first base is Jack Sorensen. At second, Mason Messenger. At shortstop, Cooper Bowman. And in the hot corner at third is Matt Hegry. Left to right in the outfield for the Hard Hats, Alex Weaver, Connor King, and Zach Sumption. Talking with Ryan Klapperich, the pitching coordinator of the Hard Hats, he said that for Drew, we're looking for him to straight up compete. When he's throwing his bullpen sessions and when he's warming up, he's throwing 80% strikes. But for some reason, that doesn't necessarily correlate to the game action in his last few starts. So for Coach Klapperich, he understands that the problem is that it's all mental. So all they're telling Drew is to simply go out there, compete, and bring us as far as you can go here in this matchup against Brandon Valley. Brandon Valley can absolutely smack the ball, as has been evidenced in their last few games. A 15-2 win against the defending champion in Pierre and an 11-0 win against Brookings. Both of those games staving off elimination. Trey Huber steps in against the righty. He is a left-handed batter. His first pitch misses up high, and we are officially underway tonight at 6:36 local time. 1-0 the count here to Hubers. The first lefty, well, first man really in the order, but the first lefty that Messer will have to face. The 1-0 is swung on, flared opposite field into left. Alex Weaver strafes to his right, and he makes the catch, and that is out number 1. So 1 up, 1 down quickly on just 2 pitches for Messer and company, and that'll bring us to Dane Payton, the second baseman. Payton steps in as a right-handed batter against Messer. Again, Messer coming in with a perfect 5-0 record in 11 appearances this season, now soon to be 12, and this is his 11th start. First pitch, and that is a called strike. Fastball outside corner, 0-1 to Payton. Calling the balls and strikes today is Steve Creer. Jesse Devines at first base, and John Krogstrand umpiring over at third. Here's the 0-1. Too far inside, and it skips to the backstop. 1-1 now the count here to Dane Payton. Scoreless affair here in the top of the first inning between Brandon Valley and Post 22. Messer takes his time, full windup, and here's the 1-1 to Payton, and that skips low and away. 2 balls and a strike now to the Lynx second baseman. If Post 22 wins this matchup, then Mitchell will have to defeat the Hard Hats twice tomorrow to win the state championship. If the Hard Hats lose this matchup, Mitchell will play Brandon Valley at 1 o'clock, and the winner will take on the Hard Hats for the entire tournament. Next pitch is swung on, hit to third. Hegry gets the stop on the hop, and the throw to first is in time for out number 2. So Dane Payton is retired. 2 up, 2 down now for Brandon Valley, and that'll bring us to Isaiah Chevalier, the shortstop. That's probably the most fun name we have had to announce in this tournament, no doubt about that. Chevalier steps in as a left-handed batter, so just like that, 2 of the top 3 in the order, lefties against the young righty in Messer. Messer takes a deep breath. Here's his first pitch to Chevalier, and that is a called strike. Fastball inside corner at the knees, and he'll start off 0-1 against Chevalier. Chevalier has an empty base path and 2 outs here in a scoreless top of the first. Here's the 0-1 from Messer, and that misses high and away, and the count evens up now at a ball and a strike. If Chevalier is retired, then Messer starts off 1-2-3 with his defense, and Connor King, Matt Hegry, and Cooper Bowman would start off the offensive entries for Post 22. 1-1 pitch skips low, and it'll be 2 balls and a strike now to Chevalier. Post 22 comes into this matchup with a 53-10 record on the season. And they are an undefeated 6-0 so far in postseason play, dating back to the Region 3A tournament last week in Sturgis. Here's the 2-1. Swung on, ball's hit to first. Sorensen gets the stop between his legs, calls everybody off, says he's got the bag, and that will end the inning, the top of the first, in 1-2-3 fashion, which for Brandon Valley, we all know, means no runs, hits, errors, or anybody left on base. We've played half a frame of baseball in Post 22 in a scoreless duel. We'll take to their offensive side for the first time in the ball game. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the Hard Hats lineup and Lynx defensive alignment here on ESPN Rapid City. Post 22 now transitions from defense to offense. Here's a refresher on the Hard Hats lineup. Leading off for Post 22, number 13, Connor King, patrolling center field. Batting second, number 21, Matt Heggery in the hot corner at third base. Batting third, number 22, Cooper Bowman out at shortstop. And in the cleanup position is number 23, Jack Sorensen out at first base. Batting fifth, number 30, Jace Caldwell, the designated hitter. Batting sixth, number 15, Zach Sumption, patrolling right field. Batting seventh, number 18, Alex Weaver, patrolling left field. Batting eighth, number 17, Todd Stevens, the catcher. Rounding out the batting order in the ninth spot is number 12, Mason Messenger, out at second base. Zach Felderman, the tall righty for Brandon Valley, will take on the Hard Hats lineup. The first gentleman up is Connor King, the only lefty that he'll see in this showdown, and his first pitch to King is high and away, 1-0. And the next pitch to King, a called strike. Fastball right down the pipe. It's 1-1. Connor King coming into this game batting .297 on the season. And his 1-1 misses high and away. It'll be 2-1, excuse me. So 2 balls and a strike now the count here to King. King in the postseason batting .429 dating back to Region 3A last week. 2-1 is fouled to the backstop, and he's quickly evened. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Zach Felderman, the righty. 2-2 to King. Misses low, and the count goes full. Connor King on the season has walked 56 times compared to 25 strikeouts. Payoff pitch is high for ball 4, and there's walk number 57 on the year. Leadoff walk for King brings up Matt Heggery. Defensive alignment for Brandon Valley has Felderman and his right arm on the mound, paired up with Jacob Johnson behind home plate. At first is Thomas Skolton. At second, Dane Payton. At shortstop, Isaiah Chevalier. And in the hot corner at third is Isaac Butime. Left to right in the outfield, Joe Kolbeck, Trey Hubers, and Will Brown. Heggery looks at a first pitch ball high and inside, and he'll start off 1-0. Heggery with Connor King on first with the leadoff walk. Here in a scoreless bottom half of the first. 1-0. That's a called strike. Belt high to Heggery. It's 1-1. Heggery on the season batting .323 this year. And in the postseason batting .300. Here's the 1-1. And that's a called strike. Fastball on the outside corner. Heggery behind 1-2. King takes his lead off of first. Felderman a switch to the stretch. 1-2 to Heggery. Check swing. Did he go? They have not signaled if he's gone, so that'll be ball 2. 2-2. Now to Heggery. It's a good check swing from Heggery and a check to first from behind home plate from Johnson. Not there in time, so King was back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Felderman's 2-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Heggery chasing the high fastball, and he goes down on strikes. 1 down for the Hard Hats with King standing on first. Here comes Cooper Bowman. Bowman on the season batting .480. And in the playoffs, dating back to Region 3A last week, batting .400. To say that this has been a stellar senior season for Bowman is an understatement. First pitch, swung on, ball's hit high in the air towards right field. Underneath it is Will Brown. Shapes to his left, and he makes the catch. And just like that on 1 pitch, that's out number 2 for the Hard Hats. So Bowman goes down with a fly out, and that'll bring up Jack Sorensen, with Connor King still standing on first. 2 outs here in the bottom of a scoreless first inning. Sorensen in the playoffs has been dynamite, batting .611 dating back to Region 3A last week. On the season, he's batting .376. First pitch is swung on, and it's flared foul first base side. And Skolton will watch that drop in front of the Hard Hats dugout. 0-1 to Sorensen. If Sorensen's retired, the heart of the order is due up for Brandon Valley in the top of the second. If not, Jace Caldwell's on deck waiting for a shot. King takes his lead off of first. Here's the 0-1. Runner goes. And the throw to second is in time. And they catch Connor King stealing. And that will end the bottom half of the first. So Sorensen has his at-bat interrupted. He will lead off the bottom half of the second. For the Hard Hats, it's no runs, no hits, no errors. And for Connor King getting caught stealing, nobody left on the base path. We have played 1 frame of baseball. And we are still scoreless between the Lynx and the Hard Hats. We'll be right back with the top of the second here on ESPN Rapid City. Post 22 Hard Hats Baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. Straight zeros across the board for both Brandon Valley and Post 22 as we now come into the top of the second inning. Drew Messer, who went 1-2-3 with his defense in the top of the first, will now see the heart of the Lynx order. Joe Kolbeck, the left fielder, Thomas Skolton, the first baseman, and Connor Knecht, the designated hitter. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM. Messer looks into Kolbeck, stepping in as a right-handed batter. And his first pitch to the cleanup man is a fastball low, and he starts off 1-0. So Kolbeck, Skolton, and Knecht to face Messer. Messer got out of the first inning in 10 pitches. Very efficient start so far. Here's a 1-0. Pitch is swung on. It's a slow roller right to the mound. Messer scoops it up. Nonchalant underhand toss to first is in time, and that's out number one. So Kolbeck goes down 1-3 in the book. That'll bring up Thomas Skolton now, the first baseman. Messer looking composed early on in this start, and I know he's only seen 4 batters, but Coach Klaparich had talked about how it's mental for Drew, and that he's looking for him to just go out there and flat out compete. Skolton steps in as a right-handed batter, and his first pitch misses low and away. A breaking ball. It's 1-0. Empty base path here for Skolton. A scoreless top of the second and 1 out. Full windup for Messer. And the 1-0 is fouled over home plate. And the scaffolding behind it, the count evens up at a ball and a strike. So 1-1 now the count here to Skolton. Messer takes a deep breath. And here's his 1-1 to Skolton. And that's a fastball low and away, 2-1. Early on in this ball game, in particular in the first inning, Messer had a couple of 2-1 counts, but every time he engineered a ground out. Here's the 2-1 pitch. And that's a fastball low, 3-1. Messer has yet to strike out anyone, but he also has yet to issue a free pass. The next pitch is ball 4. That'll be his first walk surrendered. 3 balls and a strike the count. And Messer's 3-1 is low for ball 4. So Skolton takes a 1-out walk. That gives Brandon Valley its first base runner of the ball game here in the top of a scoreless second inning. And that's going to bring up Connor Knecht, the designated hitter. And Knecht steps in as well as a right-handed batter. So only 2 lefties so far for Messer to face, and they came in the leadoff and 3 positions in the lineup. Messer now goes to the stretch and gives Skolton a quick look at first. Skolton leads, and the first pitch to Knecht misses low and away, 1-0. Isaac Butine is on deck. He's also swinging as a right-handed batter, so still only the 2 lefties for Messer at 1 and 3 in the order. Messer checked to first, and it's not there in time. Back safely is Skolton. Skolton on the base path by virtue of the base on balls. 1-0 the count here to Knecht with 1 out in a scoreless top of the second. Messer again looks over to Skolton. And his 1-0 to Knecht is too high, 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes to count here to Knecht. Scoreless affair between Brandon Valley and Post 22 here on this Day 4 showdown of the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Tournament. Messer again, another check to first. That was a close one, but just not in time. So back safely again is Skolton. 2 balls and no strikes, the count. And Messer deals. Called strike. Fastball right down the pipe. It's 2-1. Isaac Butine is on deck, and he will face Messer as long as Connect does not ground into the double play to end the inning. Here's the 2-1. That's upstairs. Stevens throws to first. It's not there in time. That'll be 3-1 now to Connect, and back safely at first with Skolten. Messer is ball 4 away from dealing his second walk and as many batters faced. It would put men on first and second, bringing up Butine. Unless he gets a strike or a double play ball here. Here's a 3-1, and that's low once again for ball 4. So Skolten will go to second into scoring position. Connect will go to first, so back-to-back walks, and now Sorensen, or rather Stevens and maybe Bowman will come in and have a quick word with the righty. Sorensen was going towards the mound, but then went back to his position at first. So Stevens comes from behind home as a quick word for his righty and Messer. And now we will go to Isaac Butine, who has men on first and second. 1 out here in the top of the second. Still scoreless between Brandon Valley and Post 22. If Post 22 wins, then Mitchell has to defeat them twice tomorrow for the state championship. If the Hard Hats lose, they will play the winner of Mitchell and Brandon Valley in a winner-take-all showdown. First pitch, called strike. Off-speed pitch comes from Messer. Butine starts off 0-1. No balls and a strike to count here to Butine. Messer trying to get out of this jam here. Men on first and second, 1 out. And Messer's 0-1. Is a called strike. Fastball inside at the knees. It's 0-2. Messer is yet to register a strikeout. But if he gets one here, then that'll relieve some of the pressure off of his defense. Here's the 0-2. Breaking ball. Caught him looking. Strike 3. And Messer gets his first K on 3 pitches to Butine. 2 down. Men on first and second, and that'll bring up Will Brown, the right fielder for Brandon Valley. That should get Drew's confidence up just a little bit here. Here comes Brown, stepping in as a right-handed batter. And the first pitch is a fastball high and inside, 1-0. Coach Torvey at the start of the season told his team, there are 2 things I hate more in life, strikeouts and strikeouts when you're looking. Here's the 1-0. And that's a called strike. Fastball at the knees of Brown, 1-1. I'd imagine that every coach in baseball has that same thought process, and I'd expect nothing different from the Brandon Valley side of things. Butine going down on strikes looking. A big second out here for the Hard Hats on defense. 1-1. They called time, so the pitch is null and void. So Brown will still see a 1-1 pitch. He must have called it just before Messer started his motion, but he didn't see it. Ball and a strike the count here to Brown. Messer looks to second, and the 1-1. Swung on and missed. High fastball, and it's 1-2 now to Brown. Will Brown has men on first and second. 2 outs here in a scoreless top of the second. Messer's looking for back-to-back strikeouts to strand a runner in scoring position and keep this a scoreless duel, putting his team back on offense in the bottom of the second. 1-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled, a high fastball. And the count will hold at a ball and 2 strikes. Messer about to deal his 20th pitch of the inning. It'd be number 30 overall in this start. So not a terrible average of 15 a frame through just 2 innings. If he can end it here on number 30. 1-2 again to Brown. Breaking ball low and away. 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Brown. Men still on first and second here for Brandon Valley. 2 outs, top of the second, still scoreless. The Hard Hats have the heart of the order coming up. Jack Sorensen had his at-bat interrupted in the bottom of the first with Connor King caught stealing to end the inning, so he will lead off for Post 22. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count to Brown. Messer looks to second to Skolten. 2-2 pitch. That did not hit him. That actually goes off the glove of Stevens, and it ricochets to the backstop. So both gentlemen advance to scoring position now. Skolten 90 feet from giving this ball game its first run on the board. Connect now to second. Count goes full here to Brown. First base is open, so a walk isn't the end of the world, but then it would be bases loaded for Jacob Johnson, the 9-hole hitter and catcher. Messer with a colossal payoff pitch coming up. Can either keep the inning going or end it right here. Payoff pitch to Brown. Swung on. Ball's hit high in the air towards left center field. Alex Weaver's on the run. Looks like the ball is over his head, and it's going to go all the way to the wall. 2 runs are going to come in to score, and Brown will stop at second with a 2-out RBI double. Brandon Valley strikes first. They have a 2-0 lead here in the top of the second. So Skolten and Connect both come in to score. Will Brown stands triumphantly on second, knocking in the first 2 runs of the ballgame for either side. Brandon Valley up 2-0. That brings up Jacob Johnson, the right-handed hitting catcher. Messer looks to second. And his first pitch is a fastball up high. It goes off the glove of Stevens. And advancing to third is Brown. That's 2 pass balls now. And now it's 1-0 to Johnson with a man 90 feet to his left. Brandon Valley, a glorious opportunity now to make this a 3-0 ball game. Messer will change to a full windup now. And here's his 1-0 to Johnson. And that's too far inside. 2 balls, no strikes. So Messer now just trying to get out of the inning. And the 2-0 is high and inside. 3 balls, no strikes. There's a man on third here for Johnson. If he walks, it'll be men on the corners for Hubers back at the top of the order. The lefty to face Messer for a second time. 3-0 pitch to Johnson. And that's a called strike. Fastball right at his knees. It's 3-1. 3-1 now the count here to Johnson. And Messer's pitch. Swung on, ball's ripped towards the left side of the infield. Bowman, the backhanded stop. Throw on the run, not there in time. And it took Sorensen off the bag. That'll be an infield RBI single for Jacob Johnson. And with 2 outs, Brandon Valley now has a 3-0 lead here in the top of the second. Cooper Bowman did everything that he could. His throw was a little bit off track, and even if it was on target, that was still going to be a very close play at first, and my guess would be that the runner would have been safe. So now 2 outs. Brandon Valley has a nice rally going on here. Back to the top of the order we go to Trey Hubers. And the lefty looks at a first pitch ball up high. He showed bunt, but pulled back. 1-0. Hubers flew out to left to start off the entire ball game back in the top of the first. 3-0 the Brandon Valley lead. And Messer's check to first, not there in time. And back safely is Johnson. Ball and no strikes to count here to Hubers. 2 outs, top of the second. 3-0 is the Brandon Valley lead. 3 runs on a pair of hits and 2 walks. Next pitch misses outside. It'll be 2-0 now to Hubers. Messer got out of the first inning with 10 pitches. He's about to throw his 30th of the frame and his 40th of the start. From the stretch, here comes his 2-0 to Hubers. Swung on and fouled. And it rolls to the backstop. 2-1 now the count to the Brandon Valley center fielder. If Hubers is the final out that Messer has had 2 chances prior to get, Sorensen, Caldwell, and Sumption are slated to hit for post 22 here in the bottom half of the second to try and reciprocate on the scoreboard. 3-0 right now, the Brandon Valley lead. 2-1 pitch to Hubers. Fastball's high and away, a runner goes, and the throw to second is in time. Cooper Bowman sliding to the left of second. Somehow applied the tag before Johnson got there. And that will end the bottom half of the second. So for Brandon Valley, it's 3 runs on a pair of hits with no errors, and thanks to Todd Stevens combining with Cooper Bowman to catch Jacob Johnson stealing, nobody left on the base path. We have played an inning and a half of baseball, and Post 22 trails for just the second time in the tournament, 3-0 to Brandon Valley. We'll be right back with the bottom of the second and the heart of the Post 22 order here on ESPN Rapid City. For just the second time in as many days in this tournament, Post 22 finds itself trailing to its adversary. 3-0 is the score. Brandon Valley plating 3 runs on a pair of hits in the top half of the second. And so now, Jack Sorensen, Jace Caldwell, and Zach Sumption are tasked with getting the Hard Hats on the board, maybe even tying this ball game up. For what it's worth, yesterday when the Hard Hats surrendered 2 runs to Renner in the top of the third, they came right back in the bottom half of that inning, and they answered. So it's not like this is the worst thing for the Hard Hats, and there's still plenty of baseball to be played in this matchup. Sorensen steps in, and his first pitch from Felderman is swung on, and it's hit to short. Stop made between the legs of Chevalier, and his throw to first is in time. Just like that on one pitch, there's one down for Post 22. That's going to bring us now to Jace Caldwell. Caldwell on the season batting .396. Dating back to Region 3A last week, is batting .333 in the postseason. First pitch. That's a high fastball. Buzzed the tower. High and inside, it's 1-0. Felderman, the 1-0. Called strike. Off-speed pitch at the belt. It's 1-1. Felderman quickly back to work. 1-1 pitch, skips to the backstop, and just like that, it's 2-1 now to Caldwell. Caldwell has an empty base path. 1 out here in the bottom of the second. 3-0 is the Brandon Valley lead. Brandon Valley trying to stave off elimination here on day 4. 2-1 is upstairs. 3-1 now to Caldwell. And the 3-1 pitch is high and inside for ball 4. So Jace Caldwell draws a 1-out walk here in the bottom half of the second. That's going to bring up Zach Sumption, the right fielder. Sumption in the postseason batting .294 for the Hard Hats. On the season, he's batting .288. Felderman now switches to the stretch. Caldwell leads off at first, and the first pitch to Sumption is too far inside, 1-0. Ball and no strikes the count here to Sumption, and Felderman's 1-0. Misses low and away, a fastball, and it's 2-0 now to the Hard Hats right fielder. Alex Weaver is on deck, as long as the double play doesn't end the inning. For Post 22. If it does, the top of the order is back up for Brandon Valley. Trey Huber's had his at-bat interrupted because Jacob Johnson got caught stealing second. That ended the inning. 2-0 to Sumption. Misses inside. Looked like a changeup. 3-0. Felderman quickly back to it. 3-0 to Sumption. Is a fastball called strike inside. 3-1. Caldwell leads off of first. And Felderman's 3-1 to Sumption is a called strike. Practically the exact same spot. Fastball inside, and now the count goes full. Felderman looks to Caldwell at first. And the payoff pitch is upstairs for ball 4. And Zach Sumption has issued a 1-out walk. Back-to-back walks for post 22. And that will now bring us to Alex Weaver. Weaver batting .307 on the season. And dating back to the Region 3A last week in the postseason, batting .333. Weaver, since the Region 3A tournament, is 6 for 18. He has doubled twice. He's knocked in 3 runs. He has a man in scoring position here in Jace Caldwell. Let's see what he can do. First pitch to Weaver is a check swing, but it was upstairs. 1-0 the count to the hard hat left fielder. Weaver on the season with runners in scoring position, batting just .264. Caldwell leads off a second, Sumption off a first. 1-0, misses low. 2-0 now to Weaver. 2 balls and no strikes the count. Felderman from the stretch. 2-0. Called strike. Fastball right down the pipe. And it's now 2-1. Sumption leads off at first. Quite a lead he has over there. Skolton not necessarily tethering him to the bag. The 2-1 missed low, just below his knees. It'll be 3 balls and a strike, and Johnson tried to frame that. But our home plate umpire, Steve Creer, had absolutely none of it. 3 balls and a strike the count. Felderman trying to avoid 3 consecutive walks. And the 3-1 hits him. Well, it might not be 3 consecutive walks, but it is 3 consecutive free base runners. And now all of a sudden, the Hard Hats have the bases loaded. Talk about this for a first at-bat in the state tournament. Here comes Todd Stevens with a chance to blow this one open. Stevens has only played in 1 postseason game this year, and he is 0 for 1 in 3 plate appearances. He's been hit by a pitch, and he's reached on an error once. On the season, Stevens is batting .373. This will be his 28th game in which he has swung the bat. Right now, there's a conference on the mound with Felderman, the first baseman, and Skolton, and the catcher, Johnson. And now Steve Creer moves to the mound to try and break it up, but he doesn't need to break it up as it's already ended. So Todd Stevens swinging the bat for the first time in the state tournament, in just the second game in the postseason. Now comes up against Zach Felderman. Bottom of the second, 3-0 the Brandon Valley lead. Stevens trying to get the Hard Hats on the board. First pitch, fouled off. Goes behind home plate and hits the signage that says welcome to Hyde Stadium. 0-1. Caldwell on third, Sumption on second, Weaver on first. 1 out here in the bottom of the second. 0-1 pitch, missed low and away. Count evens up at a ball and a strike now for Stevens. A crucial at bat for Stevens, and it's his very first one of this entire tournament. 1-1 pitch, breaking ball, missed low and away. 2-1. Now remember, there is nowhere to put Stevens, so if he draws a walk, that'll be 4 consecutive free base runners, and the Hard Hats would be on the board. 2-1 pitch. Swung on, ball's hit into left field, and it's a base hit. 1 run's going to come in to score. Here comes Sumption on his horse. He rounds third. He's going to come in to score. A 2-run RBI single for Todd Stevens in his first at-bat of the state tournament. And the Hard Hats are within striking distance, trailing 3-2. Caldwell and Sumption both come in to score. And now it's men on first and second. And that'll bring up Mason Messenger. Messenger's first pitch is chopped foul down the third base line, and he'll start off 0-1. Messenger on the year batting .313. And in the postseason batting .462. He's had a fantastic state tournament as well. No balls and a strike his count. And the pitch is a fastball low and away. And he evens up at 1-1. So the Hard Hats are on the board. They were trailing 3-0 coming into this frame. All of a sudden, that deficit's cut to 3-2. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fastball inside. 2-1 now to the Hard Hats second baseman. In the state tournament, Messenger's batting .571. That started off against Brookings. all the way back on August 1st. The next pitch skips to the backstop. It's low, and it skips, and everybody's going to advance a base. So Weaver will move 90 feet to the left of Messenger. He's the tying run. Stevens will go to second. He's the go-ahead run. 3-1 now the count to Messenger. If he walks, it'll be bases loaded for Connor King back at the top of the order. That'll be the third walk of the inning for Felderman. And now there is action in the Brandon Valley bullpen. 3-1 is upstairs, and that's ball 4. And Messenger walks. Bases loaded. Here comes Connor King, who's already drawn a walk. That's 3 walks and 4 free base runners in the inning here for Felderman and Brandon Valley. And now Weaver on third, Stevens on second, Messenger on first. Connor King, first pitch from Felderman. Misses low and inside, 1-0. And the 1-0 is high and away, 2-0 now to King. King has every base occupied. Weaver on third, Stevens on second, Messenger on first. 1 out here in the bottom of the second. 2-0, fastball, called strike. And it's 2-1 now to the hard hat center fielder. King with runners in scoring position in the tournament, batting 1,000. Next pitch is swung on, and that is flared towards second, and the catch is made by Peyton. And a crucial second out recorded by Brandon Valley. So it'll be bases loaded, 2 outs, and that's going to bring up Matt Hegre. Oh, I'm sorry. They're going to change out Hegre. They're going to bring in Ryan Bachman. So Ryan Bachman coming out to pinch hit for Hegre. Hegre only got 1 appearance in the bottom of the first, and he struck out. Bachman coming in for his second appearance of the tournament. He drew a walk yesterday against Renner. And his first pitch is a called strike inside. Bachman starts off 0-1. Bachman in the state tournament has only had the 1 plate appearance. And there is a miscue over in the bullpen with Brandon Valley. The bullpen is practically on the field, so 1 ball got away from the catcher, and so they had to stop play there for a bit. 0-1 to Bachman, high and inside, and the count evens up at 1-1. Bachman in a tough spot here, coming in a pinch hit for Hegre. He has the bases loaded and 2 outs in the bottom of the second. His team down by 1. Can he deliver the clutch hit and give the Hard Hats either a tie or the lead before the third? 1-1. That missed low and away. Good eye from Bachman. 2-1. So Matt Hegre out of the ball game, and my guess is they would move Bachman over to third. 2 balls and a strike to count here to Bachman. And the pitch is a called strike. Fastball on the outside corner. At Bachman's knees, it's 2-2. Felderman's a strike away from getting out of this jam and maintaining a lead for Brandon Valley. Every base occupied. Full windup. 2-2 to Bachman. Swung on and just fought off foul. And the count will hold even at 2-2. Bachman just threw his hands and probably closed his eyes at that pitch too. And he just caught a piece of it. 2-2 now the count. And Felderman once again, the 2-2. Just missed outside. And the count goes full. Most important pitch of this start here for Felderman. He's about to throw number 51, and there is action again in the Brandon Valley bullpen. Bases loaded, full count, 2 outs, and the Hard Hats trail by 1 here in the bottom of the second. Here is the payoff pitch, everyone going, and the pitch is swung on, and it's ripped into right field, and it drops for a base hit. 1 run's going to come in, that's Weaver. Here comes Stevens in to score. It's a 2-out, 2-run RBI single for Ryan Bachman. The Hard Hats are on top. It's 4-3. Mason Messenger with some heads-up base running will advance to third. Stevens and Weaver will come in to score. And the Hard Hats have their first lead of the ball game. A pinch hit. 2-run, 2-out single for Ryan Bachman. The Hard Hats have batted through the lineup. Here comes Cooper Bowman with men on the corners. And post 22 now with the lead. at 4-3. Felderman stays in as Bowman now steps in. Here is the first pitch. And Bowman looks at a first pitch called strike. He starts off 0-1. Bowman's 0 for 1 in the ballgame. He flew out to right field. And his next pitch misses low and away, and the count evens up at 1-1. It's men on the corners here for Bowman. 4-3 now the Hard Hats lead. 4 runs on just a pair of hits for the Hard Hats in this frame. And time is called as it looks like there was also another bullpen error for the Hard Hats. Ball got away from the catcher, Ryan Schmidt. Can't see exactly who is warming up in the Hard Hats bullpen over there. We're covered by some fencing here on this first base side dugout. Ball and a strike to count here to Bowman. Felderman's next pitch was low. They called time. So that pitch is void. 1-1 still remains the count to Cooper Bowman. Bowman is messenger, 90 feet to his left on third, 90 feet to his right on first with a clutch pinch hit, 2-run RBI single with 2 outs is Ryan Bachman. Here's the 1-1 to Bowman. And that's a called strike. Fastball inside. 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes the count to Bowman. Felderman trying to get out of it. And the 1-2 missed outside, a breaking ball. Awfully tight. 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Felderman trying to get out of this and limit the damage. 4-3 now the Hard Hats lead. 2-2. Missed fastball low and away, and the count goes full. If Bowman keeps the inning going, then Jack Sorensen, who started off the whole inning, will get a second shot here in the bottom of the second. Payoff pitch. Low and away, ball 4. And Cooper Bowman draws a 2-out walk, and that'll load the bases for Sorensen. So Sorensen will come in with the bases loaded. He's 0 for 1 in the ballgame. The first pitch he saw in this inning to start off the inning, he grounded out to short. Sorensen in the postseason, actually, I take that back. Sorensen in the state tournament with runners in scoring position is batting .600. He has the bases loaded right now with 2 outs, and it looks like we're going to get a pitching change. Brandon Valley will go with a left-hander to combat Jack Sorensen in just a few moments. We will take a step aside, and we'll be right back. Bases loaded for Sorensen. The Hard Hats up 4-3. Here with 2 outs in the bottom of the second, here on ESPN Rapid City. Zach Felderman's start has come to an end after just an inning and 2/3 of work. He threw 58 pitches, 44 of them in this second inning. He struck out only 1, but he walked 4, 3 of them coming in this inning. He also hit a batter, which came in this inning for the Hard Hats. He allowed 4 earned runs, and he's responsible for everyone on the base path. And just allowed it on a pair of hits. So now Brandon Valley goes to the lefty, Weston Struble. Number 25 will come out, and he will face Jack Sorensen. Sorensen coming in a big moment for the Hard Hats. It's bases loaded, 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. The Hard Hats in this inning have played it 4. And the main reason that the Hard Hats are ahead right now is Ryan Bachman, a 2-run RBI single, not just any RBI single, a pinch hit RBI single as he came in for Matt Hegre. Substituted in this ballgame for, at the current moment, reasons unknown. So maybe we'll find out something at the end of the ballgame. Post 22 came into this bottom half of the second trailing 3-0, and have battled back now to take the lead. Jack Sorensen comes up 0 for 1 in this matchup. In the state tournament, batting .600 with runners in scoring position. And his first pitch is swung on, and it's flared high in the air, but foul first base side. And Sorensen starts off 0-1. Heck, yesterday he came into Game 3 of the state tournament, batting .1,000 with runners in scoring position. So he has been insanely clutch for this Hard Hats club. Struebel's 0-1 is a fastball low, and the count will even up now for Sorensen at a ball and a strike. Struebel will see righties the rest of the way out until we get to Connor King at the leadoff position. That is his only lefty-on-lefty matchup, and we'll see just exactly how long he stays in the ballgame. Ball and a strike, the count to Sorensen with the bases loaded. And the pitch is swung on and missed. Fastball low and away, and it's 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes to count here to Sorensen. Struebel trying to get out of this jam and limit the damage at 4-3 post 22. 1-2 pitch. Misses low. Count evens up at 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Sorensen. Every base is occupied. Messenger on third, Bachman on second, Bowman on first. 2-2 to Sorensen, just fouled off. Goes to the backstop, and the count will hold at 2-2. 4-3 is the Hard Hats lead. As of right now, 4 runs in the inning on just a pair of hits. No errors charged to Brandon Valley. Sorensen batting for a second time in the frame. 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball. Caught him looking. Strike 3. And that will end the bottom half of the second. Oh, the Hard Hats strand. The base is loaded, but they overcome Brandon Valley, and now will take a 4-3 lead into the top half of the third. For post 22 is 4 runs on a pair of hits. No Brandon Valley errors, and the bases left loaded. We've played 2 innings of baseball, and post 22 has answered 4-3. Now they have the lead. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the third inning as Drew Messer reprises his start when we return here on ESPN Rapid City. The Capitol. This Day 4 matchup here of the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Championship Tournament. And now we have some runs to talk about, 7 of them. Now through 2 frames as Post 22 claims ownership to 4, and Brandon Valley has 3 to their credit. Numbers across the board through 2 frames here in this Day 4 showdown. For the Hard Hats, it's 4 runs on a pair of hits and no errors. And for Brandon Valley, it's 3 runs on a pair of hits and no errors. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City as Drew Messer comes out to take on the top of the Lynx order. Trey Hubers, the left-handed hitting center fielder, looks at a first pitch ball inside. He'll start off 1-0. Hubers had his at-bat in the top of the second interrupted because Jacob Johnson got caught stealing second to end the inning. He's 0 for 1 with the line out to left. And his 1-0 pitch is a called strike. Fastball to 1-1. Drew Messer's starting counterpart, Zach Felderman, was removed from the ballgame for Weston Struebel, the lefty. He only went an inning and 2/3. 1-1 from Messer, swung on, ball's hit down the first baseline, but it's foul. And the count goes now to 1-2 to Hubers. Hubers, Payton, and Chevalier, the top of the order for the Lynx, to face Messer, each for a second time in this matchup. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. Messer looking for his second K to start off this top of the third. And here's the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, caught him looking, strike 3. And that's 2 strikeouts for Messer, both of them backwards Ks in the book. 1 up, 1 down for the Hard Hats on defense now brings us to Dane Payton, the second baseman, who's 0 for 1 with a ground out to third. And speaking of third base, Ryan Bachman came in to pinch hit for Matt Hegre. He is now in the hot corner over at third. First pitch from Messer is an off-speed pitch upstairs. 1-0. Peyton with an empty base path. One out here in the top of the third. The Hard Hats now trying to protect a 4-3 lead. Here's a 1-0. That's a fastball up high again. 2-0. Post 22 has made a habit in this state tournament. Granted, it's only happened twice now where they've trailed. But they will come back and either tie or overtake the lead as the game goes on. 2-0 pitch. Misses inside. 3-0 now to Peyton. Messer has a pair of walks under his belt in this start. He's a pitch away from number 3. Here's his 3-0 to Peyton. And that is a called strike. Fastball at his knees. It's 3-1. The next pitch from Messer will be number 50 in this start. And it'll be his 9th of the inning as well. Here is the 3-1 to Peyton. Swung on, ball's popped up towards foul territory, first base side. Sorensen comes over and he watches it sail over his team's dugout. Count now goes full to Peyton. Payoff pitch coming up to Dane Peyton. As Messer trying to go 1-2 on the first two men he sees here in the top of the third. Post 22 trying to protect a 4-3 lead over Brandon Valley here on this day 4 tournament showdown. Here is the payoff to Peyton. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air towards left field. Alex Weaver backtracks, he's underneath it, and he makes the catch for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for Peyton and Brandon Valley. That'll bring us to Isaiah Chevalier, the shortstop. Chevalier is 0 for 1 with an unassisted ground out to first. Jack Sorensen credited with that defensive exhibition. 4-3 the Hard Hats lead. 2 outs and an empty base path for Chevalier here in the top of the third. And the first pitch he sees from Messer is a called strike. 0-1 now to Chevalier. If he's retired, the Hard Hats will have Caldwell, Sumption, and Weaver slated to hit in the bottom half of the third inning. 0-1. Wow, that got away from Messer. That did not look good. And it just slipped away from him. As simple as that. It slipped right off of his hand. So 1-1 the count here from Messer to Chevalier. Somebody hand that kid a rosin bag. Ball and a strike to count. And the 1-1. Skips low. 2 balls and a strike. Two and one out of Chevalier. Again, that I can't explain that 0-1 pitch. It just fell right out of his hand and went down the third baseline. He just lost control of it. 2-1 misses low. 3 balls and a strike now to Chevalier. But you've got to hope that that is not in the mind right now of Messer. He's got to put that behind him. As we talked about with Coach Clapperich, if there have been any issues he's had in these last few starts, it's all a mental battle. 3 balls and a strike to count. And Messer's 3-1 pitch is low for ball 4. So that'll be the third walk issued by Messer in this start. A 2-out walk to Chevalier. That'll keep the inning going. And it brings up the cleanup man, Joe Kolbeck. Going back to the mental state of the ball game, the late Yogi Berra once famously said that baseball is 90% physical and the other half is mental. And that rings true every game I watched. Kolbeck's 0 for 1 with a ground out right back to Messer on the mound. 2 outs here in the top of the third. The Hard Hats trying to protect their 4-3 lead. Chevalier leads off at first, and the first pitch misses low. Runner goes. Stevens' throw to second is not in time. The throw got there, but it was off track, and Messenger he couldn't pull a Cooper Bowman and slide the opposite direction of the bag and get the tag down. So it'll be 1-0 to Kolbeck, and Chevalier steals second. So the tying run now 180 feet away from scoring. And now the pitching coordinator, Ryan Clapperich, will come out and have a quick word with his righty. Post 22 does have action in the bullpen, but we can't see necessarily a license plate of who is warming up. I wouldn't be surprised to see Branson Keel, the fireballing righty, make an appearance here. And it looks like that is exactly who is in the bullpen right now. Credit Tyler Merriam over there with the broadcast assist, helping us out. So the conference is over. Colbeck will step back in. A ball and no strikes is count, and Chevalier 180 feet away from tying this ball game up for Brandon Valley. 1-0 from Messer. Called strike. Fastball inside corner at the knees of Colbeck. And it's 1-1. Thomas Skolton is on deck if the inning keeps going. If not, Caldwell, Sumption, and Weaver will hit for the Hard Hats when we transition at the bottom of the third. Messer looks to Chevalier at second, and he feigns a motion to second, so everybody resets. 4 runs, 2 hits, no errors for the Hard Hats through 2/3 of the top of the third. 3 runs, a pair of hits, no errors for Brandon Valley. Here's the 1-1 to Colbeck, and that misses low. Stevens with the block, and it's 2 balls and a strike now to Colbeck. A lot of Messer's fastballs are low. They're skipping towards home plate, or they're just skipping right in front of Stevens, so it makes it a tough play to block there. But Stevens, again, he's square up to the ball, so that's half his battle right there. Here's the 2-1, and that once again skips. Stevens can't find it. Now he locates it, but Chevalier stays put. It'll be 3-1 now to Colbeck. Drew Messer just trying to get out of the inning here. Chevalier is on second, the tying run with 2 outs here in the top of the third. If he can get out of it unscathed, then the Hard Hats' 4-3 lead is preserved, and they'll have a chance to expand it in the bottom half of the inning. 3-1 pitch. Called strike. Fastball at the knees, outside corner, and the count goes full. Messer has 2 Ks. They are both backwards Ks. He has punched both of those victims out with the breaking ball. Does he go to it here on this payoff pitch? He looks to Chevalier at second. Payoff pitch to Colbeck. Swung on, ball's hit to third. Bachman the stop to his left, and the throw to first is in time, and that's going to end the threat. Post 22 gets out of the inning, stranding a man in scoring position. It'll be no runs, no hits, no errors charged to the Hard Hats, and a man left on second. We've played 2.5 innings of baseball, and Drew Messer and company have preserved the Hard Hats' 4-3 lead. We'll be right back with the bottom of the third, and Jace Caldwell to lead off for Post 22 when we return here on ESPN Rapid City. Post 22 back to the offensive here as we now come to the bottom half of the third inning. Drew Messer got out of a bit of a jam there as he had a man on second, the tying run, and he staved him off. So Brandon Valley had a chance to tie up the ball game. Drew Messer induced a 2-out ground out to third with Joe Colbeck, the cleanup man. And now we come to Jace Caldwell, who looks at ball 1 now from the lefty Weston Struble. Struble took over for Felderman in the bottom half of the second with 1 out to go, and he recorded that out. Bases loaded. Next pitch to Caldwell is a called strike, and it's 1-1. 4-3, the Hard Hats lead. Caldwell, Sumption, Weaver slated to hit in that order here in the bottom of the third. Struble's 1-1 pitch is a breaking ball, called strike, and it's 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes here to Caldwell. And Struble's 1-2 pitch swung on and fouled to the left of my press box, and the count will hold for Caldwell at 1-2. Jace Caldwell walked, and he came around to score back at the bottom of the second. Here is the 1-2. Swung on. Ball's hit high in the air, but foul first base side. And the count will once again remain 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count, and Struble again. Breaking ball outside. 2-2. The 3 gentlemen due up in this inning all reached on a free pass. 2 walks and a hit by pitch. 2-2 is upstairs, and the count goes full now to Caldwell. Caldwell and Sumption walked. Weaver was hit, and then Todd Stevens knocked both in with a 2-run RBI single with 1 out. And then Ryan Bachman came in to pinch hit and did the same thing. Payoff pitch is fought off foul again by Caldwell. That's flared first base side. Once again, the count goes full. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat for Caldwell. In quite a battle to lead off the bottom of the 3rd. Post 22 trying to add to a 4-3 lead. And the payoff again is swung on. Ball's hit high in the air towards left field. Colbeck comes underneath it, and he makes the catch in left center, and that'll be out number 1. 1 up, 1 down for the Hard Hats on offense, and that'll bring us to Zach Sumption, who also walked back in the bottom of the 2nd and scored a run. Sumption drew his walk at a full count. Here comes the first pitch to Sumption, and that's high and away. 1-0 from Struble to Sumption. Struble took over for Felderman, who got the start. An inning in 2/3. He gave up 4 runs on a pair of hits, struck out 1, but walked 4 and hit a batter. Next pitch to Sumption fouled, and his count evens at a ball and a strike. He ended up throwing 58 pitches in this start. If Brandon Valley wins, they will play Mitchell tomorrow for a chance to play the Hard Hats for the state championship. If they lose, Post 22 has to lose to Mitchell twice tomorrow in order to lose out on the title. Sumption fouls off his next pitch, so it's a ball and 2 strikes now to the Hard Hats right fielder. Ball and 2 strikes the count. And Struble deals. Breaking ball. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. And Sumption goes to the dugout. That'll be 2 strikeouts now for Struble in relief. And that'll bring us to Alex Weaver. Alex Weaver with an empty base path and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd. Hard Hats with a 4-3 lead, so they're trying to add to it right at the moment. First pitch from Struble. Fastball upstairs, 1-0. Struble now working on his 20th, soon to be 21st pitch of this relief appearance. Here is the 1-0 pitch. And that's a called strike. Fastball inside corner at the knees. It's 1-1. If Weaver's retired, the Hard Hats will go down 1-2-3. And that'll bring up Skolton, Connect, and Butine. 5, 6, and 7 in the Brandon Valley order. The 1-1 misses low and away. That'll be 2-1 now to Weaver. However, if Weaver keeps the inning going, then Todd Stevens, who came up with the 2-run RBI single in the bottom of the 2nd, is on deck. 2-1 pitch. Swung on, ball's hit into shallow center field. That'll drop for a base hit. Alex Weaver gets a 2-out single to keep the train rolling for the Hard Hats, and that'll bring up Todd Stevens. Stevens, as we mentioned, 1 for 1, the 2-run RBI single with 1 out in the bottom of the 2nd. And then he came around to score what is considered a go-ahead run for the Hard Hats when Ryan Bachman did the exact same thing, but with 2 outs and a pinch hit scenario later in the 2nd. So Stevens comes up, Weaver leading off at first. And the first pitch, he drops the bunt down the third base line. Coming into field at Butine, and he's not going to have a play. It's a bunt single for Todd Stevens. He is batting 1,000 tonight. And it'll be met on first and second with 2 outs, and that brings up Mason Messenger. Todd, just on his speed alone, is notorious for hitting with the bunt, and he doesn't do it a lot. But when he does, good luck trying to beat him down the line. He is a track star for Rapid City Central. That man can absolutely fly. First pitch to Messenger. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air towards left. Colbeck is underneath it. He comes in, makes the catch, and that'll put an end to the Hard Hats' threat. Well, the Hard Hats got no runs on a pair of hits. No errors charged to Brandon Valley. 2 men left on the base path, 1 in scoring position. We've played 3 innings of baseball here from the Capitol, and Post 22 still maintains its 4-3 lead here in this Day 4 showdown against Brandon Valley in the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Championship Tournament. We'll be right back with the top of the fourth here on ESPN Rapid City. The start of Drew Messer has come to an end after just 3 innings of baseball, and now he will give way to number 11, Branson Keel. Keel has pitched already in the postseason. He went 1 inning against Mitchell in the Region 3A Championship, and he struck out 1 and walked a pair while earning a run in the process. Keel comes in overall on the season for his 9th appearance and his 6th in relief. He has a 3-1 record under his belt in 26 2/3 innings of work, a 1.84 ERA with 26 strikeouts to 21 walks on the season. He takes over for Drew Messer, who went 3 innings, allowed 3 earned runs on a pair of hits, struck out a pair, and walked 3 on 62 pitches. So as of right now, Messer is the pitcher of record for the Hard Hats. Keel comes in as a righty who can absolutely throw gas. And given how young he is, too, the more that he grows, the older and wiser he gets throughout the years with the Hard Hats, he will only get that much better. So very much looking forward to not only seeing what he can do in the state tournament here in his first appearance in Pierre, but also to see what he can do in the future with the Hard Hats. Numbers across the board for Post 22. Through 3 innings of play, they have 4 runs on 4 hits with no errors. And for Brandon Valley, it's 3 runs on 2 hits with no errors on defense. Thanks again so much for joining us for this Day 4 showdown here in the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Championship Tournament, folks. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City as Post 22 plays in its 4th showdown of the tournament against Brandon Valley. The Lynx are playing for their lives against the Hard Hats. If Post 22 wins this game, then they have to lose twice to Mitchell tomorrow to lose out on the state championship. Win once, and it's all theirs. They'll go to Dickinson, North Dakota, to the Central Plains Regional Championship Tournament. If Brandon Valley wins, then they will play Mitchell, and the winner of Brandon Valley and Mitchell will play the Hard Hats in a winner-take-all showdown tomorrow afternoon. Branson Keel will take on Skolton, Connect, and Butine here in the top half of the 4th, and Keel's first pitch is a fastball inside, 1-0. Skolton walked and came around to score back at the top of the 2nd. This is his 2nd plate appearance. The 1-0 is a fastball low and away. 2-0 now to Skolton. Two balls, no strikes to count. Branson Keel facing his first batter in relief of Drew Messer. And the 2-0 pitch misses high and away, 3-0. 3 balls, no strikes to count here to Skolton. Keel trying to avoid a walk on his first batter faced. And the 3-0 is high and inside for ball 4, so it's straight 4 pitches, a leadoff walk, and that'll put the tying run on the base path for Brandon Valley. Todd Stevens to come out and have a quick word with his righty as he prepares to take on Connor Connect now, the designated hitter of the Lynx. Skolton on first. No one out here in the top of the 4th. Post 22 trying to protect a 4-3 lead. So Keel will now switch to the stretch. Looks over to Skolton at first. And his first pitch is a fastball inside, 1-0. Keel has yet to throw a strike in relief. It's only 5 pitches, but still yet to register a strike. 1-0 the count here to Connect. Keel again looks over to first. 1-0. Fastball called strike. 1-1 now to Connect. Caught the inside part of the plate. Ball and a strike the count here from Keel to connect. He shows bunt. The next pitch is dropped by Stevens. But staying put on first is Skolten. And pulling back on the bunt attempt was Connect. 2-1 now the count. Good eye from Bachman to start charging from third. We'll see if Connect just tried to catch him asleep over there at the switch. See if he goes back to it. 2-1. Doesn't show bunt, and he looks at a fastball inside and high. 3-1. 3-1 now to Connect. Skolten leads off of first. 3-1 pitch. Swung on. Ball's hit high in the air. Foul territory. First base side, and Sorensen will watch it sail over the fence. Count goes full now to Connect. Payoff pitch coming from Keel to Connect. As Skolten stands on first with no one out here in the top of the fourth. Hard Hats trying to protect a 4-3 lead. Here's the payoff pitch. Caught him looking. No, it's a walk. Just missed low and away. That looked good on the outside corner, but our home plate umpire, Steve Carrier, has decided otherwise. Back-to-back walks for Keel to start off the top of the fourth. That's going to bring up Isaac Butine, who is 0 for 1 with a backwards K. So the tying run is now 180 feet away. They show bunt, but pulling back on the bunt attempt was Butine. 1-0. Not a bad move here. Puts two men in scoring position. Could give Brandon Valley a chance to overtake the Hard Hats. 4-3 is their lead. It is narrow. Sorensen parallel with the mound now, just in case Butine shows bunt again. Try and get the lead runner if you can. Here's the 1-0. He swings away and he misses. 1-1. I'm being told right now that Holden Jackson is warming up in the Hard Hats bullpen as we speak. So if Keel can't get out of it, the Hard Hats will go to their man with the nasty breaking ball. 1-1 to Butine. He shows bunt. He drops it down the third base line. Bachman comes in to field it. Clutches. Throw to first is off track. And a run's going to come in to score. Here comes another one. Sumption, throw home, not in time. Throw to third is not there either. 2-run score for Brandon Valley. They're going ballistic. They have a 5-4 lead. Bachman's throw to first was off track. So it'll be a sacrifice for Butine, and he goes all the way to third on the throwing error. That'll be an E9. 2 runs come in. Brandon Valley back on top. It's 5-4. And they are pumped right now. It's a man on third with no one out. The infield is in. Will Brown is up, and his first pitch is a fastball high and inside. It's 1-0. Brown has a 2-run RBI double under his belt that he got in the top of the second. Brandon Valley has its second lead of the ball game here at 5-4. Here's the 1-0. Pitch is swung on. Ball's hit right to third. Nice snare by Bachman, and his throw to first this time is in time for out number 1. A nice snag by Ryan Bachman. And now it's a man on third with 1 out here in the top of the fourth, and that'll bring us to Jacob Johnson, the catcher. Johnson has an RBI single to his credit. He's 1 for 1. Infield is still in, and Keel deals a first pitch ball inside. It's 1-0. Jackson still warming up for the Hard Hats in the bullpen just in case he can't get out of this. 5-4, now the Brandon Valley lead. The 1-0 is a fastball low and away, and now it's 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes to count. Keel trying to limit the damage. A man on third, 1 out in the top of the fourth. 5-4, Brandon Valley on top. The 2-0. Fastball right down the pipe. That's a strike. And it's 2-1 now to Johnson. On deck is Trey Hubers. He represents the top of the order. 2-1, the runner goes. They show bunt. It's fair. Stevens fields, tosses to first, and getting the stop was Messenger for out number 2. But a run comes in to score. They put on the squeeze. And so Butine comes in to score. So Jacob Johnson with a gutsy move. With a sac RBI bunt. And now with 2 outs, it's an empty base path, and we are back to the top of the order. And here's the first pitch. And that's a fastball called strike at his belt. 0-1 to Hubers. Hubers is 0 for 2 with a line out to left and a strikeout looking. Here's the 0-1. Swung on and fouled. And now Hubers is a strike away, registering the third Brandon Valley out. Keel looking for his first strikeout in relief. It would limit the damage at 3 runs. It's 3 runs right now on no hits and an error charged to post 22. No balls, 2 strikes. Keel looking for his first K in relief. And the 0-2 to Hubers. Misses too far inside. It's 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes the count. And Keel's 1-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled again. And the count will hold at 1-2. Keel now at his 24th pitch of the inning. This is his only one in relief as of right now. Whether he comes out for the 5th or not will be yet to be seen. Ball and 2 strikes, trying to end it. 1-2 to Hubers. Swung on and missed, strike 3. And that will end the top of the 4th, but Brandon Valley is back on top. 3 runs, no hits, 1 error charged to the Hard Hats, nobody left on the base path. We played half the ball game. 3.5 out of 7 innings, and post 22 finds itself behind again. It's 6-4. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the top of the order and the bottom of the 4th inning here on ESPN Rapid City. Post 22 finds itself trailing for a second time in this ball game. Now the score at 6-4 as we come to the bottom half of the 4th inning and the second half of the ball game. Weston Struble, the lefty, is back out to continue his relief appearance. He'll face the top of the order: Connor King, Ryan Bachman, and Cooper Bowman. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City as the Hard Hats try to level the scoreboard once again, trailing 6-4. King will lead off the inning here, the bottom of the 4th. He is 0 for 1 with a walk and a pop out to second. First time he's facing the lefty in Struble, and his first pitch is a called strike inside, and he starts off 0-1. 6 runs, 2 hits, no errors for Brandon Valley. 4 runs, 4 hits, and an error for the Hard Hats. The 0-1 is a breaking ball high and inside. Ball and a strike. King, Bachman, and Bowman to hit for post 22. And Struble's 1-1 to King is a breaking ball, missed low and away, 2-1. Post 22 gave up 3 runs on no hits in the top half of this frame. 2-1 pitch is fouled, inside fastball, and King's count goes to 2-2. It was walk, sacrifice, and an error to knock in 2 runs. A ground out, an RBI sac bunt, and then a strikeout. 2-2 to King. Misses low and inside, and the count goes full. King looking for his second walk of the game and his 58th walk on the season. Payoff pitch from Struble. Breaking ball, low and away, ball 4. And Connor King walks to lead off the bottom of the 4th. Ryan Bachman comes up. He's 1 for 1 with the pinch hit 2-run, 2-out RBI single that gave the Hard Hats the lead in the bottom of the 2nd. King leads off of first. Struble gives him a look, and his first pitch to Bachman misses low and away, 1-0. 6-4 now is the Brandon Valley lead. Post 22 is trying to even it up, maybe even retake the lead in this inning. Here's the 1-0. That is a fastball called strike on the outside corner. And it's 1-1 now to Bachman. Bachman came in for Matt Hegre over at third. Hegre went 0 for 1 with a strikeout and then left in the bottom of the 2nd. 1-1 the count. And Struble's pitch is low and inside. 2-1 to Bachman. I joke with Ryan a lot that he had probably the most exciting walk of the season when they were playing against Terre Haute in the Firecracker pool play stage. And he drew the bases loaded, walked, it tied the ball game up, and then Alex Weaver came up with the walk-off hit. Next pitch, low and inside. It's 3-1. But he was down 0-2 and then just battled back. He fouled off a few pitches and then racked up his 4 balls. Most exciting walk I've seen. 3-1 is low for ball 4. And Bachman will draw a second walk in the inning. So Weston Struble has walked the first 2 he's seen in the frame. And now that'll prompt a conference between Skolten, the catcher Johnson, and Struble. Bachman represents the tying run. He is now on first. And Cooper Bowman, of all people, is coming up. Cooper Bowman in the state tournament with runners in scoring positions batting .500, and he has one of the fastest runners on this team in Connor King standing there on second. He could have the deficit to 1 run if he plays his cards right. Bowman tries to drop the bunt, but he fouled it off. And he starts behind 0-1. Not necessarily a bad move there for Bowman, who is 0 for 1 in this ball game with a walk. So no balls and a strike the count here to Bowman. Bowman has King on second, Bachman on first. Skolten off of first is almost level with the mound. Not too far in, but he is parallel. Just in case he goes for the bunt again. And now Struble's going to step off the mound as Connor King's trying to play cat and mouse over on second. Hard Hats trailing 6-4. Every time in the tournament that they've trailed, they've come back in the bottom of the inning to either tie or retake the lead. This is not unfamiliar territory for the Hard Hats. 0-1 to Bowman. He watches the ball skip low. 1-1. Didn't show bunt that time either, so my guess is that he will swing away. Both Bachman and King gained entry on the base path with walks. King's on second, Bachman's on first. Both gentlemen take their leads. Here's the 1-1. Misses low. It goes through the legs of Johnson, but it wasn't far enough for King or Bachman to take a base. It'll be 2-1 now to Bowman. Keep in mind, if Bowman can't get the job done or he walks, Jack Sorensen is up. He's 0 for 2 in this ball game, and he struck out with the bases loaded. Next pitch to Bowman's low and inside, and now it's 3-1 from Struble to the hard hat shortstop. There is action in the Brandon Valley bullpen, too. And it looks like that might be Frank Archer if I saw the license plate correctly. He is a right-handed pitcher. 3-1 the count here to Struble. And the pitch is low and inside. Bowman walks. 3 walks to start off the inning, and it'll be bases loaded with no one out. And Jack Sorensen has a chance to try and bring the Hard Hats within striking distance, maybe even give them the lead. There will be a conference on the mound. Whether or not that means there will be a pitching change is yet to be seen. It looks like it's just a conference, and I think everybody's going to come in for this one. And it looks like they are resculpting the mound, it seems. A lot of kicking going around to the dirt. Post 22 trails in this game 6-4. If they win this game, they come back and defeat Brandon Valley. They will eliminate the Lynx, and they will have to lose twice to Mitchell tomorrow to lose out on a chance to win their 42nd state championship. If they lose to Brandon Valley and the Lynx maintain their lead, then Brandon Valley will play Mitchell tomorrow in the first game at 1 o'clock. The winner will take on the Hard Hats for a winner-take-all showdown and the 2018 state championship. Bases loaded. Here comes Jack Sorensen. Sorensen 0 for 2 in this ball game. The last time he had the bases loaded, he struck out. And his first pitch is fouled. And he starts off 0-1. King is on third. Bachman's on second. Bowman is on first. 3 consecutive walks to start the inning for Weston Struble and Brandon Valley. Brandon Valley holding on to a 6-4 lead. Here's the 0-1. And that misses outside. It'll be 1-1 out of Sorensen. Ball and a strike to Sorensen with every base occupied and no one out here in the bottom of the fourth. Here is the 1-1. Pitch is swung on, ball's flared, foul. Right field side, and it is into the Hard Hats bullpen. Holden Jackson almost got hit with the ball, and he had to duck for cover. Ball and 2 strikes now to Sorensen. Struble looking for a colossal out, maybe even a double play. The corners are in the middle infield at double play depth. You know, if they have a shot at home, that's where the play will be. Connor King is that man on third, so he'll have the play at the plate. Struble, full windup. Here's the 1-2 to Sorensen. Breaking balls upstairs. 2-2. Two balls and 2 strikes the count. And Struble's 2-2 to Sorensen. Misses outside. Count goes full. There is nowhere to put Sorensen. If he walks, Brandon Valley's lead will go to 6-5. It stands at 6-4 right now. Post 22. Trying to get back level on the scoreboard. Payoff pitch coming to Sorensen with King on third, Bachman on second, Bowman on first. Here comes the 3-2 to Sorensen. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. And that is the 3rd strikeout for Struble in relief. 1 down, bases still loaded. Here comes Jace Caldwell. Caldwell in the state tournament batting .167 with runners in scoring position, so that is well below his normal average. First pitch, misses high. It'll be 1-0 to Caldwell. So now it's up to him to try and get the Hard Hats closer to Brandon Valley. The Lynx with a 6-4 lead over the Hard Hats. Caldwell with the bases loaded, 1 out. And the 1-0 misses outside. It'll be 2-0. Zach Sumption is on deck if Caldwell either is retired or inflicts some damage. Here is the 2-0 pitch. Swung on. Ball's hit high in the air towards right center field. On the run is Hubers in center, and he makes the catch. Tagging up from third and trotting home is Connor King. Advancing to second and third are Bowman and Bachman, respectively. It's a sac fly RBI for Jace Caldwell, and the Hard Hats are within striking distance. Down 1, it's 6-5. 2 men in scoring position for Zach Sumption. Sumption 0 for 1 in this ball game with a walk, a run scored, and a strikeout. With runners in scoring position in the state tournament, he is batting .333. 6-5 now, the Brandon Valley lead. Struble trying to relieve the pressure a bit, and he throws a first pitch called strike to Sumption. It's 0-1. If Struble gets out of this, Brandon Valley will still have the lead going into the top of the 5th. Here's the 0-1. And that misses upstairs. It'll be a ball and a strike. Zach Sumption's come up with clutch hits before against Creighton Prep in the Gopher Classic Elite 8. He came up with a bases loaded, 2-out, 2-run RBI single to eventually give the Hard Hats the lead. They rode that momentum to the win. Next pitch is low and away. It'll be 2-1. And keep in mind, in that tournament, Sumption was barely batting over 100. And somehow came up with the clutch hit. Bowman on second, Bachman on third. Down by 1. The 2-1 is fouled off. And the count for Sumption evens at 2-2. If Struble records strike 3 here, that'll be his 4th K of this relief appearance. If not, we'll either have a full count or many other options. 2-2 to Sumption. Is upstairs at his letters, and the count goes full. Payoff pitch coming to Sumption, and the pitch. Swung on, ball is ripped into center field for a base hit. 1 run's going to come in to score. Bowman turns on the Jets. He's going to trot in, and he'll score. Post 22 back on top. It's 7-6. A 2-out, 2-run RBI single for Zach Sumption. And just like that, the Hard Hats have done it again. Anytime they've been down, they come right back. And now it's a man on first with 2 outs, and that'll bring up Alex Weaver. Struble from the stretch. And his first pitch is a called strike on the inside corner. It's 0-1. Weaver's 1 for 1 with a 2-out single, a hit by pitch, and a run scored. We're in the bottom of the 4th, and Post 22 has answered with a 3-spot of their own. It's 7-6. The next pitch misses low and away from Struble to Weaver. 1-1. 2 outs, and Zach Sumption with a clutch hit of his own. Now standing on first. Here's the 1-1. And that misses low and away. It'll be 2-1 now to Weaver. Todd Stevens is on deck if Weaver keeps the train rolling here for the Hard Hats in the bottom here of the 4th. 7-6 now their lead over Brandon Valley. 2-1, swung on and missed. Sumption goes, and they'll let him take it. So it'll be 2-2 now to Alex Weaver with Sumption standing in scoring position. Weaver again 1 for 1, looking for his second hit, and time's called as there's another bullpen error. Again, with that bullpen right on the playing surface, if anything gets by the catcher, it's going to cause a little bit of a delay. And it's not the first time that both sides have had their problems. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Weaver. We are back to baseball. 7-6 the Hard Hats lead. 2-2 from Struble. Swung on, ball's chopped right up the middle. At second, unable to make the stop is Dane Payton. He snares it, but it was in shallow center. That'll be an infield single for Weaver. Advancing to third is Sumption, so with 2 outs, it'll be men on the corners. Todd Stevens coming up. And it looks like this might be the end of Struble's relief appearance. This is the second mound visit. And so Struble hands over the ball, and after 61 pitches, he is done. So Struble pitched 2 full innings. And now it looks like he is going to give way to Frank Archer, I believe. The righty, number 22. 27. It'll be Cole Hupke instead. So we'll let him warm up, folks. We'll take a step aside and come right back. Bottom of the 4th. The Hard Hats have men on the corners for Todd Stevens to face the third pitcher for the Lynx in this matchup. Struble pitched 2 full innings, and he allowed 3 runs, all earned on 4 hits, striking out 3 and walking 4 on 61 pitches, and he is responsible for these 2 base runners. So his runs allowed could expand by just a bit. See what Stevens does with 2 outs. First pitch is a swing and a miss, and Stevens starts behind 0-1. Stevens is 2 for 2 with a 2-run RBI single and then a bunt single. So he, in his first game of the state tournament, is batting 1,000. The 0-1 is a fastball called strike on the outside corner. 0-2 now from Stevens. Hopke showcasing some good velocity here. The third pitcher, Brandon Valley, has called upon in this matchup. Brandon Valley playing for their lives. If they lose, they're done. Here's the 0-2, and that hits him right on the bucket. And Todd Stevens hit by a pitch with 2 strikes. And that'll put the bases loaded for Mason Messenger. So Weaver will move over to second. Sumption stays put on third. Mason Messenger comes in with a chance to keep this going for the Hard Hats. 7-6 is the Hard Hats lead. Can they add to it before the 5th inning comes? First pitch. Misses low. 1-0 to Messenger. Messenger's 0 for 1 with a fly out to left and a walk. His last time on the base path, he was stranded at third. Here's the 1-0. And that misses high and away. 2-0 to Messenger. There is nowhere to put Messenger. He is halfway to a walk, and if he gets that walk, it'll be 8-6 post 22. 7-6 right now is their lead. Cole Hupke trying to get out of this in relief. 2-0, fouled off behind home plate. 2-1. Messenger has Sumption on third, Weaver on second, and Stevens on first. Two one from Hupke is high. 3-1 now to Messenger. He is a pitch away from an RBI base on balls and an 8-6 Hard Hats lead. Brandon Valley playing for their lives. If they lose this game, they go home. If they win, they play Mitchell tomorrow for a shot at the Hard Hats for the title. 3-1 to Messenger. Outside, ball 4. It's an RBI base on balls for Messenger, and the Hard Hats lead is now 8-6. And now we go back to the top of the order. Connor King, who started off this inning. Sumption comes in to score, and you look back to Sumption with 2 outs, and he had that colossal 2-run RBI single with 2 men in scoring position. And now Connor King comes up. This is his second time with the bases loaded. He popped out to second back in the bottom of the second. King 0 for 1 with a pair of walks, and he's come around to score once. Hopke, first pitch, is high and away, 1-0. And the throw is off track coming home. Here comes Weaver, and he's in to score. A miscue from Johnson behind home plate. He flubbed the throw to the mound, and Weaver came in. It's 9-6. My goodness. It's 1-0 to King, and now men on first and second. An unfortunate miscue there for Brandon Valley. And that'll be an E2 officially in the book to bring Weaver home. First error of the ball game for Brandon Valley. And now here is Hupke's 1-0 pitch. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air towards right center. Brown coming in from right, he makes the catch, and he will put an end to the chaos. Post 22 in the inning, puts up a 5 spot. And they do so on 4 hits with an error charge to Brandon Valley and 2 men left on the base path. We have played 4 innings of baseball, and Post 22 now has a 9-6 lead. We'll take a step aside, and we'll be right back with the top of the 5th. And Branson Keel back out to reprise his relief appearance when we return here on ESPN Rapid City. 22 Hard Hats Baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. The Pier grounds crew right now is re-establishing the field to the tune of the William Tell Overture. Still waiting for that Rachmaninoff soundtrack to come on anytime soon. Post 22 now has a 9-6 lead coming into the top of the fifth. 9 runs on 6 hits with an error. And for Brandon Valley, it's 6 runs on a pair of hits with 1 error. Branson Keel back on the mound for Post 22 to reprise his relief appearance. The Hard Hats, every single time in this game that they have been down, they come right back in the bottom half of the inning. And it started yesterday against Renner. Post 22 went down 2-0 in the top of the third, answered with 2 to tie it in the bottom of the third. And then in this game, in the top of the second, went down 3-0, answered back to take a 4-3 lead. In the top of the fourth inning, they went down 6-4, allowing 3 runs on no hits. They came back in the bottom of the fourth with 5 runs to their credit. Branson Keel deals a first pitch strike to Dane Payton, leading off the top of the fifth for Brandon Valley. He starts off 0-1, and he is 0-2 in this Day 4 showdown. 0-1 pitch is fouled to the mesh. And now Payton's behind 0-2. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City for this Day 4 showdown of the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Championship Tournament. Here is the 0-2 from Keel to Payton, and it's low and inside. Ball and 2 strikes. If Post 22 wins this matchup, then Mitchell has to beat them twice tomorrow for the Hard Hats to lose out on the state championship. They only need to beat Mitchell once, so they have 2 chances to win a ball game. If they lose to Brandon Valley plays Mitchell, and the winner has a shot at the Hard Hats for the title. 1-2 pitch swung on, hit to first. Jack Sorensen calls everybody off and says, "I've got this." Touches the bag, and that'll be out number 1. 3 unassisted in the book for Payton, who is the leadoff man, retired. That'll bring up Isaiah Chevalier, the left-handed hitting shortstop. Chevalier is 0-1 with an unassisted ground out to first, similar to what we just saw right there with Sorensen. He's also walked. Empty base path for Chevalier, and 1 out here in the top of the fifth. Brandon Valley trailing 9-6. And the first pitch is a called strike. Fastball right down the pipe, and Chevalier starts off behind 0-1. No balls and a strike, the count here to Chevalier. And the 0-1 from Keel is fastball upstairs. 1-1. Joe Kolbeck is on deck. He will be the 3rd gentleman scheduled to hit in this inning. Kolbeck's 0-2 coming into this plate appearance. 1-1 to Chevalier. Pitch is swung on, hit right back to the mound off of Keel's glove. He settles it down, tossed to Sorensen, out number 2. 1-3 in the book. A nice heads-up play by Keel, who didn't initially snare it, but he didn't panic as the ball rolled away from him. A nice settle and a toss to Sorensen, and that's 2 up and 2 down for Brandon Valley to bring up Joe Kolbeck. 9-6 remains the Hard Hats lead. Keel and company trying to keep it that way. Kolbeck again, he's 0-2. Empty base path and 2 outs here in the top of the fifth. First pitch, fastball outside, 1-0. If Kolbeck's retired, Bachman, Bowman, and Sorensen are slated to hit for the Hard Hats in the bottom half of this 5th inning. Here's the 1-0. And that goes off the glove of Stevens and rolls away. That'll be 2-0 as the pitch was high and outside. 2 balls and no strikes to count here to Kolbeck. Trying to keep this going for Brandon Valley. Keel, a full windup, and here's the 2-0. And that's a fastball low and away. 3-0 now to Kolbeck. Keel is in his 2nd inning of relief. He has struck out 1, and he has walked a pair. Here's his 3-0, and that's low. Now he's walked 3. It's a 2-out walk to Kolbeck. And that'll keep the inning going and bring up Thomas Skolton, who has walked twice and come around to score twice. If you look at the 6 Brandon Valley runs, 5 of them have been scored because of free base runners. 4 walks and 1 reaching on an error trying to sacrifice bunt. Only once has a man hit and come around to score for Brandon Valley of their 6 runs. Keel's first pitch is swung on and missed by Skolton. He starts behind 0-1. If Skolten is retired, Bachman, Bowman, and Sorensen hit in the bottom half of this fifth inning for the Hard Hats, who are currently up 9-6. If Skolten keeps the inning going, then Connor Connect, the DH, who also has a pair of walks and runs scored, comes up. Keel steps off the rubber, and everybody will reset as Colbeck goes back to first. He's on first with the 2-out walk on 4 pitches. Skolten was the first batter that Keel faced in relief, so now he's on his second go-around through the order. Here's the 0-1. Swung on, ball's flared off foul. First base side, not a play. And Skolten now is behind 0-2. 0-2 the count. Keel looking for his second strikeout. It would put an end to the top of the fifth, put the Hard Hats back on the offensive, and it would preserve a 9-6 lead. Keel looks over to Colbeck at first. Runner goes. 0-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled. All that work for nothing for Colbeck. He has to go back, and it remains 0-2 now for Skolten. No balls and 2 strikes the count. Keel working on his 39th pitch in relief. Holden Jackson was warming up a while ago, but if Keel can keep this performance up, number 20 might just stay in the bullpen and be all rested for tomorrow. No balls, 2 strikes. Keel from the stretch again. 0-2 to Skolten. Hits him. And the inning keeps going as Skolten will trot to first. That's an unfortunate miscue for Keel. And I talk about this and beat it like a dead horse and say it like a broken record. One of the worst miscues at this level of baseball, or at any level of baseball, has to be a hit batsman on a 2-strike count. You're a pitch away from registering him out, and instead you give him a free pass, and in this case it's an 0-2 count. So you're not even in jeopardy of issuing a walk or anything. You still got a couple of pitches to play with, but now the inning keeps going, and Connor Connect comes up. Here's his first pitch. That's a fastball upstairs, 1-0. Connect has walked twice. Both times he's come around to score. Keel started off the inning 1-2, but since has walked and hit Colbeck and Skolten respectively. No, Colbeck is now in scoring position. Skolten's on first. Here's the 1-0 to Connect. That's a fastball up high again. It'll be 2-0. Post 22 has a 9-6 lead. They're 1 out away from preserving it. But they have to get this last out, to state the obvious. 2-0 to Connect. Fastball called strike at his belt. 2-1. Branson Keel trying to get out of this in his second inning of relief. And here is his 2-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Connect even now at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Connor Connect. Branson Keel once again a strike away from preserving a 9-6 lead. Here is the 2-2. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air to left. Alex Weaver is on the run, backtracking towards the warning track, dives, and he makes the catch. And that is going to end it. Brandon Valley, no runs, no hits, no errors. 2 men left on the base path, 1 in scoring position. We have played 4.5 innings of baseball, and the Hard Hats have preserved a 9-6 lead. We'll take a step aside, and we'll come right back with the bottom of the 5th, and the Hard Hats back on the offensive with Bachman, Bowman, and Sorensen due up here on ESPN Rapid City. To the bottom half of the 5th inning we now go, as Post 22 now tries to add to a 9-6 lead that they successfully defended in the top half of this 5th inning. Through 4.5, numbers across the board for Post 22, 9 runs, 6 hits, 1 blemish on defense, and for the Brandon Valley Lynx, 6 runs on a pair of hits with 1 error. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and for the entirety of this tournament streamed on post8baseball.com. Post 22 protected their 9-6 lead, and now Ryan Bachman, Cooper Bowman, and Jack Sorensen are called upon to try and start another rally to add to it. Ryan Bachman, he has been such a breath of fresh air in this lineup, but it's not to say that the Hard Hats in that context have been playing poorly or anything, but Bachman was put in a tough spot, pinch hitting for Matt Heggery. He came in with the bases loaded, and he knocked in 2 to give the Hard Hats the lead early. Bachman looks at a first pitch strike inside, and he starts off 0-1. And his 0-1 is high and off the glove of Johnson. Count evens at a ball and a strike. Cole Hupke is still on the mound here for Brandon Valley. He is the 3rd pitcher that they've used. Zach Felderman started the game and went an inning and 2/3. Weston Struble pitched 2 full. And now Hupke's called upon. Bachman's next pitch swung on, hit high in the air towards right field. It lands. It's going to go all the way to the corner. Bachman turns on his jets, and he's going to go to second. The ball was mishandled, but he's going to slam the brakes at second and start off with a lead-off double. I talked about how crucial it was for Bachman to come into the game cold, if you will, and contribute. He is 2 for 2 with a 2-run RBI single, a walk, a run scored, and now a 2-bagger under his belt. Credit to number 10. His number was called, and my goodness, has he delivered. Here comes Cooper Bowman. Bowman 0 for 1 with a pair of walks and a run scored. Bachman leads off a second, and his first pitch is low. And it starts off 1-0 to the Hard Hat shortstop. Ball and no strikes the count. Bachman leads off a second. And the 1-0 is chopped foul down the third base line. And Bowman evens up now at a ball and a strike. 9-6 is the Hard Hats lead. Bottom half of the 5th inning, they are trying to add to it against Brandon Valley. This Day 4 matchup of the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Tournament. Bowman having a quick talk with Coach Torvey, and I don't know if he's shaken up or what have you on that sequence. Tia Furman, now the trainer for Post 22, coming out to have a quick conference with both Torvey and Bowman. It might have hit Bowman's foot, and that was a point of concern right before the Region 3A tournament, where Bowman fouled it off the instep of his shoe, and he literally had to be carried out of the stadium, and somehow, by the grace of the big man upstairs, did not have a fracture. He just bruised his foot. And so he kept the rest of that weekend against Sioux Falls East out. He did absolutely nothing the rest of the week until he had some light practice, but then he played through Region 3A like a champ, and he's done fantastic in this tournament, and it looks like he's going to tough it out here. Here's his 1-1. Swung on and missed. And now Bowman's behind 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes now to Cooper Bowman. 0 for 1 with a fly out to right, a pair of walks, and a run scored. Ryan Bachman with the leadoff double, leads off a second. And the 1-2 skips low. Johnson gets the block out in front of him, so it deters Bachman from taking third. 2-2 now to Bowman. Post 22 with a 9-6 lead here in Day 4 of the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Tournament. 2-2 pitch. Swung on. Ball's flared off foul first base side, and it holds at 2-2. If Post 22 hangs on to this lead and they defeat Brandon Valley, they will play Mitchell for the state championship tomorrow. Post 22 only has to win 1 game against Mitchell out of potentially 2 to secure the state championship. If they lose to Brandon Valley plays Mitchell. The winner has a shot at the Hard Hats for the title. The 2-2 is high and inside, and now the count goes full to Bowman. Ryan Bachman on second with no outs here in the bottom of the 5th. 9-6 the Hard Hats lead. Hupke in relief. Looks to Bachman. Payoff to Bowman. Swung on. Ball's hit high in the air to center field. Underneath it is Hubers. Makes the catch. Bachman will stay put at second. And that'll be 1 away for Post 22. So Bachman on second now brings up Jack Sorensen, who is 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. Both times Sorensen has struck out, he's had the bases loaded, so it's been unfortunate today for him with runners in scoring position. The first 3 days of the tournament, he was nearly automatic when there was a runner on either second or third. He was batting 1,000 coming into yesterday's game against Renner. Here's his first pitch. That's a fastball high and inside. Almost got away from Johnson. Bachman once again stays at second. 1-0 to Sorensen. To credit Sorensen, though, outside of his first real at-bat, because his first one got interrupted to end the bottom of the first with Connor King caught stealing. He took one pitch in his first real at-bat and grounded out to short, but ever since then he's seen at minimum 5. His 1-0 is fouled right at home plate, and the count evens at 1-1. So he's going the distance in counts, and he's going a long way, really making the pitcher earn that out. Racks up the pitch count a bit, too. So good on him to battle. Ball and a strike is count. Bachman leads off a second. 1 out, bottom of the 5th. The Hard Hats are up 3. 1-1, swung at and missed. Sorensen a little bit late on that fastball, and it's 1-2. Sorensen, a ball and 2 strikes is count. 1 out. Bachman leads off a second. Cole Hopke trying to register a key second out and relieve some pressure. 1-2 pitch. Misses low and away. And now it's 2-2 to Jack Sorensen. Post 22 twice in this game, has battled from behind to take over the lead from Brandon Valley. 2-2. His fastball upstairs. Count goes full. And every inning that the Hard Hats have been down, which is now 3 in this entire state tournament. So credit to the Hard Hats. They either battle to an even score or they've already got a lead. They've come back to either tie or retake the lead from their opposition. Payoff pitch to Sorensen. Swung on and missed. Strike 3 on a high fastball. And I think Jack, going back to the dugout, knows he swung at ball 4 there. So that'll be the first strikeout for Hopke in relief. 2 down. Bachman still on second because of the leadoff double, and that's going to bring up Jace Caldwell. Caldwell is 0 for 1 with a walk, a run scored, a fly out to left, and a sac fly RBI. And he looks at a first pitch ball low and away. It's 1-0. Ball and no strikes the count. And the 1-0. Fastball missed just outside. And the count evens up. Or excuse me, the count goes now to 2-0. Two balls and no strikes now to Caldwell. Ryan Bachman still on second. Here in the bottom of the 5th. 2-0 pitch. Swung on, ball's hit right down the third base line, off the base, and it goes into shallow left for a base hit. Bachman's going to come around, and he's going to score. Caldwell's going to take off for second, and the throw's not in time. It's a 2-out RBI double for Jace Caldwell. Post 22 now has a 10-6 lead. That ball literally tight-roped the line and then ricocheted off of third and went into shallow left. So Bachman, it was an easy score for him, but credit Caldwell. He was thinking 2 the entire way once he saw the ball ricochet off the bag. So it's an RBI double with 2 outs for Caldwell. That'll bring up Zach Sumption. And Sumption's first pitch is a called strike on the inside corner. Just below his letters, it's 0-1. Sumption is 1 for 2 with a 2-run RBI single that reestablished the Hard Hats lead. Next pitch low and away. It's ball and a strike. He stole the base and walked, and he's come around to score twice. But it's Sumption's hit in the bottom of the 4th with 2 men in scoring position that gave the Hard Hats at the time a 7-6 lead. They have scored 5 unanswered runs. Here's the 1-0. Sumption's pitch swung on. Ball's hit to short. Diving stop made on the play by Chevalier, but he couldn't get the throw off. That'll be an infield single for Zach Sumption, and it'll advance Caldwell to third. So the Hard Hats keep the train rolling here with 2 outs. It'll be met on the corners in the bottom of the 5th, and that brings up Alex Weaver. Weaver had an infield single the last time he was up. He is 2 for 2. He has scored twice. He's also been hit by a pitch. Weaver has men 90 feet to his left and right. Caldwell on third. Sumption on first. 10-6 now the Hard Hats lead. First pitch from Hupke. Swung on, ball is hit right back to short again. Chevalier, it boots off of his leg. Caldwell's going to come in to score. Assumption's in a race to third, and Weaver will hang on at first. And that'll be an RBI single for Alex Weaver with 2 outs. It's 11-6, post 22. And the inning keeps going. It's men on the corners, and that'll bring up Todd Stevens. Todd Stevens is batting 1,000 in this game. This is his first action of the state tournament, and a big credit to number 17 for making do with the playing time that he's been awarded. 2-run RBI single in the bottom of the second, a bunt single in the bottom of the fourth. He was hit by a pitch with 2 strikes, also in the bottom of the fourth. First pitch, skips low, and off the catcher Johnson coming in to score is Sumption. And Weaver will take second. It is 12-6, post 22. They've scored 9 runs in the last 2 innings. So Weaver now on second as the pass ball knocks in Sumption. And it's 1-0 to Stevens. And now Hupke has a conference with Skolton and Johnson on the mound. Post 22 has a 12-6 lead. If they don't surrender it, they only need to beat Mitchell once in potentially 2 matchups for the state championship tomorrow. If somehow Brandon Valley overcomes this 6-run deficit and takes the win, Brandon Valley will play Mitchell, and the winner of that game tomorrow afternoon will play the Hard Hats for the state championship. Stevens' 1-0 pitch is flared foul towards the Hard Hats bullpen, and this time it goes over the fence. And the count for Stevens evens up now at a ball and a strike. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning, which feels like it's gone on for quite some time. Heck, this game's gone on for a while. We're already at 2 hours and 2 minutes. And we're still in the bottom of the 5th inning. Post 22 up 12-6. Next pitch is fouled off. Stevens way early on that pitch. Ball and 2 strikes now, the count to the hard hat backstopper. If Stevens is retired, the bottom third of the order slated to hit for Brandon Valley in the top of the 6th. If not, Mason Messenger's on deck. 1-2 to Stevens. Swung on, fouled off again. That one goes out in the street. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Post 22, a dozen runs on 10 hits with an error. 6 runs, 2 hits, and an error for Brandon Valley. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. It's a man on second for Todd Stevens. Alex Weaver is that man in scoring position. 1-2 to Stevens. Breaking ball low and away. 2-2. Be interested to see. I believe Branson Keel might come out for that top half of the 6th. There's no action in the Hard Hats bullpen. 2-2 to Stevens. Ripped down the third base line again. It's a base hit. Weaver's going to come across to score. Stevens is looking for 2, and he'll have a 2-run stand-up RBI double. And the Hard Hats now have a 13-6 lead. And post 22 is laying on the hurt here in the bottom of the 5th. 10 runs in the last 2 innings, another 5 spot. As Stevens switches places with Alex Weaver, and that'll bring up Mason Messenger. Messenger 0 for 1 with a fly out to left, a pair of walks, and a run batted in. The last time he was walked, it was bases loaded. Here's his first pitch. That's too far inside. It's 1-0. Post 22, now with a 13-6 lead. And the next pitch to Messenger is upstairs. It'll be 2-0. Two balls and no strikes. And the pitch. Swung on, ball's hit into left field. Coming in is Colback, and he makes a diving catch, and that'll put an end to the inning. Oh, post 22, 4 runs on 5 hits. There were no errors charged to Brandon Valley, and there was a man left on second base. We've played 5 innings of baseball, and post 22 starting to run away. 13-6, their lead over Brandon Valley. We'll take a step aside and we'll come right back to Branson Keel and the top of the 6th. Brandon Valley back to the sticks here on ESPN Rapid City. ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. No disasters for the Hard Hats to clean up here, as they now have a 13-6 lead coming into the top half of the 6th inning here against the Brandon Valley Lynx of runs on 11 hits with 1 error on defense. And for Brandon Valley, it's 6 runs on just a pair of hits and 1 error. Thanks again so much for joining us tonight, folks. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and once again streamed on postdatebaseball.com, where you can catch every game of the state tournament online with video free of charge. Branson Keel back on the mound to reprise his relief appearance. This will be his 3rd inning of work. He has 44 pitches under his belt, and he will see the bottom third of the order. Isaac Butine, Will Brown, and Jacob Johnson, barring any substitutions. Keel back to it. Here is his first pitch, and it is a fastball high and inside to Butine. 1-0. Butine is 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking, and then he's credited with a sacrifice bunt that knocked in a run. Next pitch is a called strike. It's 1-1. He put down the squeeze with a man on third. Ball at a strike now is count. And Keel's 1-1. Swung on and missed. Another fastball. It's a ball and 2 strikes. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Butine. Keel looking for his 2nd strikeout in relief. And here is the 1-2. Fastball missed low. 2-2. Butine, Brown, and Johnson to face Keel, all for a 2nd time in his relief appearance. 2-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? And they said he went. That's strike 3. K number 2 for Branson Keel. 1 down, and that'll bring up Will Brown. Brown 1 for 2 with a 2-run RBI double, a run scored, and a ground out to third. The next pitch from Keel will be number 50 in his relief appearance. First pitch is a fastball called strike right at the belt. 0-1 to Brown. Post 22 trying to protect the 13-6 lead here in the top of the 6th. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fastball called strike in practically the exact same spot. It's 0-2. Keel looking for back-to-back Ks. And 2 up, 2 down for Brandon Valley. Here is the 0-2 to Brown. Swung on and fouled. And Brown stays alive. No balls and 2 strikes. Post 22 will have the top of the order to bat in the bottom of the 6th. And as of right now, though, it'll be their last 3 offensive outs. Here is the 0-2 to Brown. Swung on. Check swing. Did he go? And they say he went. That's 2 check swing strikeouts for Branson Keel in the inning. 2 up, 2 down. And that'll bring us to Jacob Johnson. It's one thing to see 1 check swing strikeout, but 2 in the same game and 2 back-to-back. That's something else. Jacob Johnson. First pitch is inside, 1-0. Johnson has an RBI single, and he also has an RBI sacrifice as well. Here's his 1-0. And that's upstairs. It'll be 2 balls and no strikes. Keel has yet to go 1-2-3 in an inning. He had a chance in the top of the 5th, but he walked 1 and hit 1 when he had 2 outs. The next pitch misses low and away, and it's 3-0. Now he's a pitch away from a repeat performance in back-to-back innings. 3-0 the count here to Johnson, and Keel's pitch is high and inside for ball 4. So Jacob Johnson walks, and that'll bring us back to the top of the order with a man on first. Trey Hubers, the left-handed hitting center fielder. Hubers is 0 for 3. A line out to left and a pair of strikeouts, including the very first one issued by Keel in his relief appearance. Keel is now at 3 to his credit. Johnson leads off at first. He's been caught stealing already once. And the first pitch to Hubers is high and away, 1-0. If Hubers is retired, the top of the order is slated to hit for the Hard Hats: King, Bachman, and Bowman. Here is the 1-0. And that's a fastball high and away. It'll be 2-0 now to Hubers. Holden Jackson was warming up again in the Hard Hats bullpen. I think he's thrown more warm-up pitches than Keel has in this relief appearance. Here's the 2-0. That's a called strike. Fastball inside. To Hubers, it's 2-1. But I do not see Jackson throwing around. He might just be waiting for his number to be called upon. I think if things get out of hand in this frame, we might see number 20. 2-1 from Keel. Swung on. Ball's flared. Left field side, and it drops fair into shallow left. And Weaver comes in to field it, so it'll be a 2-out single. A bloop single for Hubers. That'll put Johnson into scoring position at second. And now Dane Payton comes up with a shot in this inning. Payton's 0 for 3. Ground out to third, an unassisted ground out to first, and a fly out to left. Hubers went opposite field and barely tight-roped the line. Got it in the middle of no man's land as well. First pitch. Hits him right on the bucket, and that's going to load the bases. Keel lost control of that one. And now it's bases loaded with 2 outs, and that'll bring up Isaiah Chevalier, the left-handed 3-hole hitter. And now Chevalier will come up with a chance to try and inflict some damage. Ryan Clapperich, the pitching coordinator, comes out to have a quick word with his righty. I don't think they're ready necessarily to go to Holden Jackson. Talking with Coach Clapperich, I asked for any words of wisdom about the pitching staff today, and he said, well, first off and foremost, we want Drew Messer to get a good start, go out there and compete. And I'd like to say that Drew did. I think in the 3 innings he pitched, he had a couple of flashes where he got into some trouble, but then he ultimately gave the Hard Hats the lead coming out of the 3rd inning and held it. So he came out to compete, and then he said, we're going to go to Branson and see how long he can go. And so I think we're at a point now where Keel, he might be towards the end. He's at 62 pitches here through almost 3 full innings of relief, but they've been high-quality innings at that. Keel has only given up 3 runs. He's only allowed 1 hit. But now he's got the bases loaded for Chevalier, the 3-hole hitter. And his first pitch is swung on, and it's hit to the left side of the infield. Messenger, the scoop at second, throw to first in time. Crisis averted. And post 22 strands, the bases loaded for Brandon Valley. No runs on a hit. No errors charged to the Hard Hats. Bases left loaded. 5.5 innings in the books, and post 22 has protected its 13-6 lead. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the bottom of the 6th. As of right now, the final 3 offensive outs for the Hard Hats when we return here on ESPN Rapid City. Brandon Valley now going to their fourth arm on the mound. The righty Jackson Hayes will take over for number 27, Cole Hupke, who went an inning and a third and allowed 4 runs on 5 hits in his relief appearance. He struck out 1 and he walked 1 as well, also hit a batter. And so now Hayes, the righty, will take over. He will take on the top of the order for post 22. As of right now, with the 13-6 score and the Hard Hats in the lead, these are their final 3 offensive outs of this ball game. Thanks again so much for joining us for this Day 4 showdown of the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Championship, folks. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM. Post 22 has already booked its ticket into Championship Sunday tomorrow. If they hang on to this 13-6 lead over Brandon Valley, then all they need to do is beat Mitchell once in potentially 2 games to secure their 42nd state title in team history. If not, if Brandon Valley somehow overcomes this deficit, then Brandon Valley will play Mitchell tomorrow, and the winner takes on the Hard Hats for a winner-take-all showdown. Connor King looks at a first-pitch strike from Jackson Hayes. And here is the 0-1 to King, and that skips low, 1-1. Connor King on the ballgame's 0 for 2 with a pop out to second, a fly out to right, a pair of walks. He was caught stealing, and he also scored a run. Here's his 1-1. Breaking ball, swung on. Ball's hit high in the air towards right field. Brown chasing towards the line. Brown on the run, can't make the play. Here comes Connor King. He's rounding second. He is coming for third, and Connor King slides into third. He has a leadoff triple. Connor King's first hit of the ball game. It's a 3-bagger. And that'll bring up Ryan Bachman. And again, you talk about clutch performances. Ryan Bachman and Todd Stevens, if we still gave out a Player of the Game award, it's got to go to both of those gentlemen. 100%. Ryan Bachman comes up 2 for 2 with a double, a walk, a 2-run RBI single, and a pair of runs scored. And he looks at a first pitch high and inside. He'll start off 1-0. 13-6 the Hard Hats lead. Bachman has King 90 feet to his left. 1 ball and no strikes to the Hard Hats third baseman. And the 1-0 is a breaking ball. High and away. 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes now to Bachman. The infield for Brandon Valley's in. And there is more action in the bullpen. It looks like another lefty warming up for the Lynx. Here's the 2-0. And that's a called strike inside at the belt. 2-1. And that is the lefty in Frank Archer. 2 balls and a strike to count to Ryan Bachman. Connor King is on third. He slightly leads off. And now here's Hayes, 2-1 pitch. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air, and it looks like it's going to go over or in front of our press box, and there's the thud on top of the building. 2-2, and it looks like a fan made a great catch. 2-2 now the count here to Bachman. Gotta love that. Two balls and 2 strikes the count, and Hayes deals to Bachman. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Got him on the off-speed pitch inside. And Hayes gets his first strikeout on just a second batter faced. So 1 down. Connor King still 90 feet from home. That'll bring up Cooper Bowman looking for his first hit. 0 for 2 with a pair of flyouts to the outfield, a pair of walks, and a run scored. First pitch. Breaking ball. Called strike on the outside corner. And Bowman starts off behind 0-1. Jackson Hayes on the mound. Archer, the lefty, warming up in the Brandon Valley bullpen. Off-speed pitch next is swung on, and it's drilled down the third base line. It's a base hit. It's going to go all the way into the corner. And Cooper Bowman's first hit of the ball game is an RBI double, and it's now 14-6, post 22. One out, and Bowman stands in scoring position on second. Connor King in to score. That'll bring up Jack Sorensen, who is 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. It's been a rough night statistically for Sorensen, but if the law of averages has anything to say about it, I think he is due for a hit. 0 for 4, 3 Ks. Bowman on second. Here's the first pitch. Swung on, ball's hit towards short, and it goes into left for a base hit. Bowman gets the green light. He's going to round third, and he comes in to score. Oh, no, they've got the tag. They said they tagged him. And so Sorensen gets the single. He'll advance on the throw, but they have Cooper Bowman thrown out going home. It looked like he had just beaten it. But that'll be 2 outs and a man on second. 14-6 still the Hard Hats lead. And I believe that is it for Jackson Hayes. And Archer, the lefty, will come in. So 2/3 of an inning there for Hayes, who gave up a run on 3 hits. He struck out 1 and he didn't walk anybody, but he only threw 11 pitches. So Frank Archer, the lefty, comes in. We'll take a step aside to let him warm up, and we'll be right back with Jace Caldwell and Jack Sorensen standing on second here on ESPN Rapid City. '22, Frank Archer, who is in to potentially finish out pitching for Brandon Valley. Jackson Hayes only went 2/3 of an inning. He allowed a run on 3 hits, 11 pitches. He struck out 1 and didn't walk anyone. And so now he will face Jace Caldwell. 14-6 now is the Hard Hats lead. Jack Sorensen stands on second. Now, if the Hard Hats can pull off 2 runs in this inning, the ball game will come to its conclusion. And that will be the 3rd time in 4 games in this tournament that the team has invoked the 10-run rule in getting the win. If not, they'll need to record 3 outs in the top of the 7th to close it out. This is still a big Day 4 matchup. Regardless of what happens today, Post 22 is fighting for the state championship tomorrow. If they hang on to this 14-6 lead and they win, then they have 2 chances to beat Mitchell once for the championship and a berth into the Central Plains Regional Tournament. If they somehow happen to lose to Brandon Valley in the top of the 7th, then Brandon Valley will play Mitchell, and then the winner takes on Post 22 for the title. Jace Caldwell comes in. Jack Sorensen leading off his second. First pitch to Caldwell is fouled over the press box. Starts off 0-1. Caldwell on the ball game is 1 for 2. He's walked. He's hit a sac fly RBI. He's also hit an RBI double. Here is the 0-1. And that's a called strike. Right at his knees, a fastball from Archer, the lefty. It's 0-2. Second lefty that Brandon Valley has gone for out of their bullpen, and the 5th pitcher overall used. Sorensen leads off a second. 0-2 to Caldwell. Swung on. Ball is check swung to the right side of the infield. At first, Skolten gets the stop. Toss to Archer covering the bag, and that'll end it. So Post 22 gets a run on 3 hits. No errors charged to Brandon Valley, and Jack Sorensen stranded on second. Post 22, 3 outs away from going 4-0, heading into Championship Sunday. If they hang on, they have 2 chances to beat Mitchell once for their 42nd state championship. If somehow Brandon Valley overtakes them, Brandon Valley plays Mitchell, and the winner fights the Hard Hats in a winner-take-all. We'll be right back with the 7th and final inning here on ESPN Rapid City. Post 22 is 3 outs away from going 4-0 in the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Championship Tournament. The heart of the order due up for Brandon Valley in this top of the 7th. And the first pitch from Branson Keel is high and inside to Joe Kolbeck, 1-0. Kolbeck, Skolton, and Connect slated to hit in the top of the 7th. Brandon Valley needs 8 runs if they want to perpetuate the game. Here's a 1-0. Low and away, 2-0. Post 22 has 14 runs on 14 hits with an error in the ballgame. Brandon Valley, 6 runs on 3 hits with an error. 2 balls, no strikes to Kolbeck. And Keel delivers. Pitch low, it's 3-0. Kolbeck's 0 for 2 with a walk. Pair of groundouts, 1 to the mound and 1 to third. Here is his 3-0 pitch. Too far inside. Oh, it's a called strike. It's 3-1. Just caught the inside part. Three balls and 1 strike to Joe Kolbeck. And Keel's 3-1. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air to center field. Connor King is on the run. Is he underneath it? He makes the catch. And that's out number 1, post 22, 2 away from facing Mitchell for the title tomorrow. Branson Keel working on his 69th pitch. Brad Skorcheski comes in to pinch hit for Thomas Skolton. And Skorcheski looks at a first pitch called strike at his belt. It's 0-1. Brad Skorcheski coming in to pitch hit. And the 0-1 skips low. And the count evens up now at a ball and a strike. It's an empty base path for Skorcheski and 1 out here in the top of the 7th. Post 22 is up 14-6. Branson Keel, 1-1. Swung on and fouled. 1-2. Keel looking for his 4th strikeout in relief. He has pitched since the top of the 4th. He came in for Drew Messer, who got the first 3 innings in the start. Full windup for Keel. 1-2 to Skorcheski. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Ball's dropped and Stevens fields it. Tossed to first. 2 down. That's strikeout number 4 for Keel. Post 22, 1 out away from facing Mitchell for a 4th time in the postseason and a 2nd time in this tournament for the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Championship. And now stepping in is Jackson Warkentine. And his first pitch is a called strike. Jackson Warkentine into pinch hit for Connor Connect. 0-1 is high and inside. It's a ball and a strike. Branson Keel looking to end it right here. Here's the 1-1. Not just missed inside. 2-1. 14-6 is the Hard Hats lead. They're 1 out away from facing Mitchell tomorrow for the title. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Called strike. Fastball belt high to Warkentine. It's 2-2. Post 22 is now a strike away from taking the win over Brandon Valley. Full windup. 2-2. Swung on. Ball's popped. Foul right in front of our press box. And the count will hold even at 2-2. Warkentine stays alive. Two balls, 2 strikes the count. Branson Keel working on his 78th pitch. He has struck out 4, including 1 in this inning. 2-2 to Warkentine. Just missed. And the count goes full. Post 22 hasn't had a 1-2-3 inning in the ballgame since the top of the 1st. Branson Keel's a pitch away from accomplishing that. He's also a pitch away from keeping the game going. Payoff pitch, and it's ball 4, low and away. Warkentine is issued a 2-out walk. And now Isaac Butine comes up as the last hope for Brandon Valley. 14-6, post 22 has the lead here at the top of the 7th. They are 1 out away from a state title showdown against Mitchell. Potentially 2 chances to win 1 game. Keel looks to Butine. First pitch is high and away, 1-0. Butine is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. He had a sacrifice bunt that knocked in 2 runs, though, on another error that helped out, and then he came around to score. 1-0. Upstairs. Throw to second with the runner going. Not there. So Warkentine steals second. He's now in scoring position. It'll be 2-0 to Butine. Holden Jackson was warming up earlier in the ball game. Doesn't look like there's any action going on right now, so it looks like it's Branson Keel or bust for the rest of the game. 2-0, called strike. Fastball outside corner, it's 2-1. Warkentine leads off a second. 2 balls and a strike the count here to Butine. Branson Keel pitching from the stretch. Here's his 2-1. Fastball missed low and away. 3 balls and a strike. Barring any other substitutions, Will Brown is on deck. Brown's 1 for 3 with an RBI double and a strikeout. 3-1. And that's ball 4. And Butine gets a 2-out walk. Post 22 faithful, not necessarily happy with the call, but nonetheless the game keeps on going. First and second, 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Post 22 up 14-6. And now Will Brown is the last hope for Brandon Valley. This is a steep hill for the Lynx to climb here against the Hard Hats. A strikeout and a ground out to third. He has men on first and second with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Branson Keel trying to put an end to the game right here. First pitch. Swung on. Ball's popped up. Foul territory. First base side. Sorensen's on the run, and he'll watch it sail over the dugout. 0-1 the count to Will Brown. If Post 22 hangs on to this lead and they get the win, they will play Mitchell at 1 o'clock tomorrow for the championship. If Post 22 happens to drop that game, they'll rematch just about 30 minutes later. A winner-take-all game 2. But if Post 22 wins that first game and wins this one first, then they will get their 42nd championship in team history. No balls and a strike the count. And Keel deals to Brown. Fastball low, scooped by Stevens, and it's 1-1. First and second for Brown with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Branson Keel working on his 87th pitch in relief. His 4th. 1-1 to Brown. Swung on, ball's lined to short. Bowman the diving catch, and that's going to end it. Post 22 has a date set with Mitchell for a 6th time this season and a 4th time in the postseason. 1 o'clock tomorrow, they fight for the championship. Brandon Valley has nothing to hang their head about. A fantastic state tournament, losing their first game, battling all the way back to a chance to play on Championship Sunday. Post 22, 14 runs on 14 hits with 1 error. Brandon Valley, 6 runs on 3 hits with an error as well. The game took almost 2.5 hours to complete. Folks, we'll take a step aside, and when we come back, we'll recap the big Post 22 win. We'll sign off and say so long until tomorrow afternoon, where Post 22 fights for the 2018 South Dakota American Legion Baseball State Championship. We'll be right back in just a few moments here on ESPN Rapid City.